Hey, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I
Hell
can't
yeah.
hear, I cannot hear myself that well. Hold on a second. I might have the what do you call it? Noise blocking on. No, no, that's okay. I guess maybe I'll do it like this. Yeah,
Yeah, that's usually I usually kind of have like my left ear half on. That way you
yeah,
don't talk too loud. It's like
yeah.
it's like trying to talk while you got the Walkman blasting.
Yeah, it's weird because you think that they would give you some in your earphones so you can hear yourself what you
I'm
sound like.
live.
Hey,
Hey. Who,
That's so
who
so
weird.
what's that puppy's name?
Guys,
Which puppy is that?
that's Oni. It
Oni.
means demon in Japanese. It's a yokai demon.
Well, that makes sense.
ah,
I,
okay.
And because Mochi's the other one.
all right.
How's
Jim,
how am
James,
I? Yeah, how do I sound? How's the sound quality? Is it okay?
you sound
Yeah.
great.
No,
I'm
yeah,
sure
Okay.
I'm sounding like shit.
you should be hosting
I
the
just
show. You sound so good.
I didn't know
Yeah.
if the echo was. I try to minimize the echo.
Am
Yeah,
I making an echo?
I think we all have a little echo, but that's
Okay.
just the
Okay.
nature of, you know, having a big room because we all have big, massive rooms.
Yes.
We do.
So is this it? Are we doing it right now?
Fuck yeah. I mean,
All right. Well,
we can cut out whatever we want, but I probably won't cut out anything.
all right. Well, let
We
me
are
just first say
live. We are
Happy New
rolling.
Year.
Happy
Oh,
New
Happy New Year to
Year
everybody.
yeah.
Have you had to write it
2024.
down yet?
What?
The, the
Have you
date.
had to write? Yeah. Have you had to write it yet?
Yeah. And man, I don't think I fucked it up. Like, you always fuck up the first one. At
Yeah.
least I don't know if I fucked it up yet. I think I've been doing pretty good. I have to write down dates pretty much every day, but not with the year. But I know I've done it a few times, and I think I'm flawless. Have you?
Yeah. I did it at the bank, and it was the first time I did not fuck it up, but it was definitely
See,
weird.
we're getting there.
Just, just thinking, I was like, oh my God, 2024.
I got a
I know.
dog fight going on in here. Hold on. I'm going to have to do something about this. Hey,
There's always something.
get out of here.
Well, I got a
Hey,
question.
okay, cool. I was gonna say something.
Go, bitch.
You still go to the bank?
I had a check that I needed to deposit, and so I
You
don't
don't do?
normally go,
Ah, I haven't
but
been to a bank in years.
yeah, I don't know. I know you can probably just do it over your phone, but when it's like a physical check, if it's a bigger check, if it's small, I'll just put it through the ATM. But if it's something a little bigger, then I like to go inside.
Really? I stopped doing that. I switched to an online credit union. So
Yeah.
there's no fucking physical place I can even go. But yeah, mobile, you just take a picture, boom, it's done. It's great.
Yeah, I know. I'm still old school, man. I like to
Yeah.
interact with a person sometimes.
Yeah,
Not
well,
most of the time,
we'll
but
get
every once in
into
a while.
we'll get into that.
But
But let's
I was
not.
gonna say I
Oh,
looked up a figure online because I was curious. Did
Uh-huh.
you know that there's like 2,000 kids born every year with the name Dingus?
Dingus?
Yeah, did you know
Like
that? I looked it up.
what do you mean ding like DINGUS?
Yes, yeah. I think it's
like
not
last
not.
name or first name?
Yeah.
I think maybe first name, but not so much in America. I think it's more in like Germany and places.
It
But
mean
Wow.
but I and granted, when I don't know. I just went to some random figure online that who knows what the fuck.com. So I don't know how accurate the figures were, but I just thought it was interesting because I was like, fuck, are people naming their kids Dingus? And
I'm
the
all
answer is
for it.
yes.
I'm all for it. Why not? You know? That way it kind of normalizes it, because it's the Simpsons just ruined it. Like
Yeah,
because when I grew up, no, I mean people would mispronounce my name Dingus, but no one would like snicker or make a joke about it. No one ever called us like Dingus as a you know derogatory term. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden in my like 20s or 30s, everyone's like, the slap tagger in Portland, Dingus, with his ferret. You see Dingus stickers all over the city, and people are just calling each
yeah.
other Dingus. Like that was not a thing when I was a kid. Do you remember anyone calling anyone Dingus growing up?
No, I never heard of it. I was very surprised. And do you know
Yeah,
what the number three name that people are naming their kids, boy and girl?
donut.
Neo.
Oh,
Neo.
Neo.
like from the Matrix.
Oh, because the kids who grew up on the Matrix are having kids.
Yeah.
Like
Isn't
they
that
were
crazy?
children when the Matrix came out.
Yeah. So
Probably.
like someday you'll be working for like a young dude who's named Neo.
Neo Dingus.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Damn it, guys.
Can you not hear us, Doctor?
Hold on. I got some crazy shit going on.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Dog fights, technical difficulties. It's a typical day.
I want to try to use my headphones, but I can't figure it out.
Yeah. I had to do
Maybe
half on
if I
because I
come,
can't hear
can I
myself.
leave and come back and see? Because it says like use mic.
I think you're wearing earmuffs and not headphones. I think that's the problem.
Let me just try this. Let me just try this.
Okay. I thought she meant like come back like another grand entrance of like, hey.
Yeah. Just go out of frame, slip back in, just start over.
Like, I didn't like that. I didn't like that entrance. Let me try it again.
She's got this is Emily. This is typical doctor behavior. That's why she's
Yeah, I've been
that's why she's
listening.
the best.
I've been listening to the podcast. I've been catching up on episodes, and the last few episodes that you've posted. And I do have some, if we have time or if you want to, I do have some things that stirred up thoughts,
Sure.
ideas, some of
Absolutely.
your the stuff you were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, let's get
But
into stuff like that.
yeah, well, the big one was you were talking about like oh, here she is.
It's not, the headphones aren't working. I wanted to show off my Dr. Dre's
Oh, you
beat.
got Beats by Dre. Very nice.
Nice.
Well, James has said he's been listening to the show and he's got some thoughts on some stuff we've been talking about.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. So the first thing was you were talking about like teen social structures and that whole how kids interact and the power struggles that start to develop. And it got me thinking about because you're talking about teenage movies. It got me thinking about mine was Pump Up the Volume.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys remember that
Christian
one?
Slater.
Christian
Wow,
Slater.
I never saw that.
There's that whole scene with the Descendants song.
Yeah.
What is it? Wiener Schnitzel, I think. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was a big deal
Well,
for us as teenagers.
Yeah,
That
I love
Descendants were in
that
a movie.
Love that movie, and I got it was like 8th grade maybe when I remember we got real into it, me and a buddy of mine, and we started talking. We really wanted to do like a pirate radio station because that's the character he plays.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we didn't have the equipment. All we had was he had a CB radio.
Well, that's
and
fun.
so we would end up talking to like truckers and stuff.
Big
and
Bear
then
to Little Bear.
he lived right around the corner from like a Burger King. And for some reason, sometimes
get
if we
through
got the right channel, we could get, so it'd be like, welcome to Burger King, can I take your order? And then it was like these two dumb kids, and I'd be like, ketchup and mustard on your hot tits. And
would you like
and
Bill
then
Sperm with that? No.
Yeah. And they'd be
I would have
giggling.
loved that. I would have been all about that. My parents had friends that had like it was sort of like a police scanner, but you could listen to other people's telephone conversations.
Oh,
And
wow.
like
Freaky.
really great
for them.
Great
for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids don't get to experience that now, do they? Of like accidentally picking up a different like phone line.
No, man.
I don't think
it's the neighbor.
I don't think so. I mean, the landline that I grew up with in my parents' house just went away. Like my brother got rid of it. So there's no more landline at my parents' house.
Yeah.
And that to me signifies that it's officially over. It's like landlines are officially over. If my parents or my mom now doesn't have a phone, no one else does. It's over.
Yeah.
So there's no
my mom too.
There's no dipping into people's convos like the old school way. I mean, you know what? I've actually thought about getting a landline because just to see what people like, who's going to come do it. First off,
yeah,
I'm sure they still. I'm sure they still provide that service. But
yeah,
the only annoying thing is all we would get it would just be spam calls. That's all we would get. The phone would ring every day, and it would be not for us really. It just no friends.
Just
would be
trying
calling.
to take advantage of old people, really. At this point, it's like all scams. Did you ever see? I posted a thing online. It was a drawing of an invention I came up with that was like an old school landline phone and like the twisty cord. that you would plug into your cell phone for like old people, so they could
Yeah.
still feel like
They have that.
they have it.
They had that
Do they?
exists.
Does it? Oh shit!
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I had a friend.
No,
listen.
I'm glad it exists.
I had a
Our
friend do that.
death
He actually
pod
did that.
exists. Like everything already exists.
Yeah.
So
I had a friend. He was an electrician in the film industry, who was just always doing wacky shit like that. And he actually did carry around like a phone with a spiral cord.
Yeah.
And he could talk on it, from what I remember. He
Yeah.
like rigged it up somehow to work. But he always had it.
Wow.
Well, he didn't always have it, but sometimes he'd have this fucking phone on, and it was like on his tool belt. And I was like, that's fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah. There is something satisfying about fucking with the cord when you're on the phone.
Yeah.
Twisting it around and talking.
Uncoiling it so you can stretch it out further, you know?
This.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Oh.
Exactly.
Look out.
Hey, and another thing related to the teenage thing was I was thinking about those movies like Stand By Me and like The Goonies, and I was thinking about my friend groups.
Both shot in Oregon.
There was always like a kid who was kind of like Chunk or Vern, who was sort of the butt of the joke whenever things got stale. You know, and it's usually like the bigger kid. And I was wondering, Emily, if girls have that in their friend groups, of like the one girl it's like, oh fucking Deborah, you know, get your shit together, or if it's not like that.
Well, in my experience, I would receive a lot of that because I was funny. And so, like at slumber parties, the people would target me because, like, they thought I would think it's funny, or, you know, like putting my panties in the freezer or some shit. Or like one time, this girl.
As long as you still weren't wearing them, that's kind of funny, you know?
Well, yeah, it's fucked up. Well, so one time there was this girl who was, I think she probably got held back. She was definitely older, and she had her period at the slumber party. Like
Classic.
a period I've never experienced, even as a woman who's given childbirth.
There's a Pen 15 episode about that.
Oh, I watched that with my son. It's so funny.
Such a good show. But yeah, they have a whole episode about her getting her period during the slumber party.
It was like that, and it was bad, and it smelled. That was the thing. We were in like 5th grade, and it smelled, and none of us really had our periods to that extent. Mm-hmm. And so everyone was like, what's that smell? What's that smell? And then everyone was like, it's Emily. It's Emily. She smells like shit. She smells like fish. Ew, Emily, like, you know, like just really making fun of me, and like it kind of hurt my feelings. And then when the girl left, there's a huge blood stain on the floor, and I was like, see, you guys,
who stinks now?
Piece of
shit. Did they apologize? Did they apologize to you?
No, I don't think so.
Drunk at the bar 20 years later, probably. Remember that time?
Those girls were. Remember when I talked about how me and Cooter had friends that were like adjacent?
Yeah, your auxiliary friends.
That was those girls. Like they were kind of mean. They were a little bit mean.
See, I feel like it fluctuated in our group, where like sometimes it was one kid, sometimes it was me, but it was like it would move around of like who was the one sort of getting the shit for the day. But there's usually like one kid, I think, in a boys. Maybe not anymore. I don't know what it's like now. But when I was growing up in like a boys
rib
group,
each other all the time. Yeah,
boys are
like
awful.
One kid who kind of gets it more than everybody.
Dude, I tell you,
that fucker.
Yesterday I drove by like a group of 4, probably I'd say 5th, 6th grade age, whatever that is, boys.
Yeah,
I'm like, that is the last thing you want to see walking down the street alone at their age. As a boy walking towards another group of boys, whether you know them or not, you like want to circumnavigate that situation altogether, because there's no way you're getting out of that without some sort of altercation. Because at that age, boys and girls, I'm sure, but boys are the fucking worst.
Yeah,
awful.
They're all bad,
and especially in groups, awful.
Yeah, every day is like a roast.
Every single day. Yeah.
That is what my every work day is all about, mostly the 5th grade. So I do school counseling now. And there's a lot of serious situations that happen, or kids that are really having you need to call like adult or child protective services and things like that. And but the bulk of my day consists of fifth and sixth grade girls mostly, and sometimes boys, and their like inner world, their dramas, right? And like it's so difficult because I'm trying lots of different things, I'm reading about it, and like there's no way to like stop it. Like it is going to happen. The only thing I can do is try to like model and suggest healthy conversations or mediate problems, but there's just always some shit going down, and it's like middle school is terrifying for a lot of kids. Personally, I loved it. I fucking loved it. I hated the academic part, but I really enjoyed the drama part.
Middle school was fun, but it was the one age where I got fucked with the most, in the sense that like I never got into a fight in school because I was more scared of like what my parents would do to me if I got suspended. I mean, I got suspended in high school, but not for fighting.
What did you get suspended for?
Oh, just really dumb shit.
Kidnapping?
Literally drumming on my desk with my hands and stuff. Like teachers that didn't like me would. I got suspended twice for really dumb shit.
I'm
like
sorry.
in school suspension. And
I had ISS many times.
Yeah, and like but kids would like, there's a couple, one in particular, that would like always try to fight me. And like we almost got into it one day, and like I know I could have just like whipped this kid's ass. Like it was no problem. Like I was not scared of him at all, but I just avoided the fight the whole time, and we never fought. But he always tried to be my friend too. Like I remember one time he tried to be like, "Hey man, do you listen to Beck's Mellow Gold had just come out?" He's like, "You," and I was like into hip hop at the time, almost exclusively. He was trying.
Bully loved Beck. Huh?
He was trying to. He wasn't a bully. He was just a little shit that wanted to fight me.
I see.
Like we were the same. Like he was not bullying me. He just wanted to fight me all the time. I'm like, what the fuck? Like he was like, I just
maybe he loved you.
Shoo him away. Like get the fuck out of my face. Like you're not worth my time, kind of thing. But yeah, he tried to introduce me to Mellow Gold. He's like, he kind of raps in it. I'm like, we're not friends, you fucking piece of shit. Like, but that at that age, yeah, boys, girls, I think girls have a really good time in middle school. But I saw some gnarly girl fights.
Oh yeah,
at the teen center. There was some.
Grab the hair. That's all you got to do. Just grab the hair and.
I saw the popular girl who thought she was tough get her ass whipped by the not popular girl that was much bigger than her.
Oh yeah, they fight.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. But anyway,
Dingle. Yeah. I think we should introduce our guest.
No one knows
first
except
and foremost,
us.
This is the first Dr. Donut and the Dingus visual episode. And the reason it's visual is because we have our old buddy, CSF friend, James, formerly known as Jimmy James, which I would also like to discuss, here with us today.
Yeah, I'm going to slip up with that one.
That's okay.
So Jim, I can't help it, guys. It's like a term of endearment. Like, he and I used to work together at Cinema Cafe.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
By who?
I don't know.
Jeremy.
It wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
I was watching Harold and Maude.
I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I snuck in a 40 and was just drunk as shit, and I slammed it down on the table, and I was in the back row, and somebody noticed and kicked me out. I don't blame them.
We wouldn't have kicked you.
That was I didn't know the person.
That was a good time. That was a good time at Cinema Cafe when they were doing Harold and Maude. I think I brought a date to that one night on my night off.
It was great, man. That was a great place.
It was a great little space. They had the pool table.
Yep. And, I played an almost perfect game on that pool table. I broke, didn't get a shot in. Nick Gettler took his first shot, missed, and then I cleared the fucking table. Wow. Only time I've ever done that in my life, and it was at Cinema Cafe.
We would play pool after work every evening, remember?
Yeah. Hey, were you there the night that there was a film festival and there was some bullshit like ski comedy movie in it, and Anna Faris was in it, and so she was at the Cinema Cafe.
Oh, really?
some people, and
Oh.
after the thing was over, we were shooting pool and drinking beers with them in the little room, and then I think we ended up taking them to the Dragon Room, the Adobe. I don't know if it's still there. The Adobe, wasn't it
I was just gonna say,
the
I
Pink
think I had
Adobe?
left and I started working at the Pink Adobe.
Okay, because I
I
remember
don't
going there
remember that.
with her, and she was very like drunk, or at least pretending to be drunk, and it was very much the way she is when she's like playing a drunk character. It was
It's
that
her.
kind of energy,
That's
and
so
we all chalked
fun.
it up. We chalked it up to like, oh, the elevation. But thinking about it in retrospect, she may have like just been like, who the fuck are these random dudes that are like waiters that we're now like hanging out with? Let's just get out of here.
No,
And so
she
she
probably
might have been
loved it.
pretending.
She probably loved it. She
I mean, she
never would
was
have
really
gone
young,
into it.
right? She was probably your age at that
Yeah,
time, right?
I think she was maybe a little older. I don't know, man. I remember her
slightly
being like
older, I
not
think.
that tall. I remember her being not that tall. I remember them telling me like, "Oh, she was just in Scary Movie." And I hadn't seen it, so I didn't know. So to me, it didn't mean anything because I didn't know who she was at the
Right.
time.
She's pretty like, I mean, she's
She
like
got
a
pretty
girl,
huge.
literal girl next door, like a bad girl
Yeah.
next door.
I
But
listen to her
every
podcast
time I see
sometimes.
an
Oh,
actor, they're so much more beautiful in person, and they are
Yeah.
always short.
Do you
I've
still see
worked
him
with
a
a
lot
bunch.
in Santa Fe?
No, no. Well, when I worked
Because
at
we
the
used to see
Wing,
him.
I got to meet my crush, my celebrity crush, who is that's a drum roll. Zach Galifianakis,
That's your crush.
and I made him laugh. I made him
Nice.
laugh, and it was wonderful. I also met James Franco and Drew Barrymore,
Oh
Drew,
wow.
Ruth
that's
Bader
huge.
Ginsburg.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
fucking what's his name? From the Matrix.
Keanu?
Um,
Lawrence
Keanu
Fishburne.
Reeves.
Fishburne. I
Oh,
Oh,
helped him pick out a
Fishburne. He's
kimono.
great.
wow.
Yeah, so
Legend.
that was cool, but no, I don't really see any. They
This,
filmed this. Have you guys seen The Curse on
yeah,
HBO?
I was going to ask you if you're watching it.
I was working at that time. I was working at a senior facility, and there were a lot of locals, of course, working there, and they were like, "Oh, I got to go do this show, like extra work at this thing that what's her name? It's not Anna Faris, but she's a lot like her.
Oh, Emma Stone
Emma
in the
Stone is in."
yeah.
And I was not picturing, I was like, oh, why is she doing a TV show here? Like, that's weird. But if I had known it was Nathan Fielder, I would
Yeah.
have dropped everything and gone and see if I could be on that
I
shit.
don't even know who that is. Nathan Fielder?
Well, you're gonna have to
Sorry.
look him up because
You got to
he's
start.
the
That
shit.
that show is so skin crawly and
Really?
uncomfortable,
It's all about
cringy
Espanola,
humor.
and it's like
It
pretty
is.
good. It's pretty. I worked in Espanola, and it's they use a lot of local references, like even subtle things, like she's carrying a canvas bag that has the Tasuke Village Market thing on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty like,
And local wardrobe people, they know what's up.
yeah.
I waited on Val Kilmer once when I was working at the Cowgirl.
Everyone's got a Val Kilmer story. I love
I
it.
waited. I
Except
waited
me,
on
I
Val
don't.
Kilmer. It was probably like 2004, and I think it was right around the time. Must have been right around the time he was doing the movie Wonderland because he had like a beard and like the army
Oh,
jacket. And I was. He came in, and I think other people like maybe didn't want to wait on him, and I was like, I'll fucking wait on him.
yeah.
Because at that point in the time, that was a very dark time in my life. At the Cowgirl, the rule was you couldn't drink on the job unless a customer bought you a shot. And so
Oh,
my thing was I would just go up to the tables and be like, what are we drinking? And they're like, you
Mhm.
wanted it? I'm like, yeah. And so I'd just
hell
be
yeah.
taking
Very
shots
smart. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
night. And so I was already kind of drunk. And so I go up to his table and I don't know, he seemed really fucked up, like he was on hallucinogenics or something. And he was with a group of people I didn't recognize. And he was, everybody ordered their drinks. And then he said, I'll have a Heineken. And I was like, we don't have Heineken. And I think he was fucking with me, but he's like, well, somebody better go to the store and get some. And
Maybe
since I
not.
was already kind of drunk, I was like, well, why don't you be a fucking man and have a shot at tequila? And he sort of looked at me weird, and then he ordered like a really expensive one, and then he drank like six of them, and then he tipped me like $100. So in the
Yeah, I
end,
was gonna
Awesome.
say. I was
In the
gonna
end, it
say,
was
if
good.
you had gone and gotten him a Heineken at the store, you might have gotten 200.
You humbled his ass.
Maybe.
You humbled him.
I think he was just fucking
He
with
was
me
fucking with
a
you.
little bit, because when
He
I
was
dished
fine.
it back to him, he seemed pretty okay with it. He
he
wasn't.
he wanted it. He was
Did you
Yeah,
asking.
work
he's probably.
there when Annie Lederman worked there?
Shit, I don't think so.
It was later. Like I had left
I think it was
Santa
later.
Fe when she started working there, and you and I think, are actually the same age. All of us
Yep.
are. But you were at CSF a year ahead of both of us, 2 years
I
ahead of
think
him,
I started in the fall of
right?
'98. The fall of '98
Oh,
was
okay. That's when
when.
I graduated high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started then, and then I did take a year off at one point, and I think it was after my sophomore year. I took a year off, came out to Portland for a year,
I
just
remember
and we
that.
lived in St.
Is
John's,
that
which I don't
you?
know.
You and Raul and
Yeah, it was me and this and Chris Grassi and Dan Gower and Nick Coons,
My man
and
Chris Grassi in his
yeah,
house.
because
R.I.P. Raul, we love you.
very
they
much.
had
He
a
also
band,
worked
Hughes
with
Red
us at Cinema
Shoes.
Cafe.
So they had a band called Hughes Red Shoes, and they wanted to like take a year and just like get into the music scene. And so we got like we just watched Fight Club. I remember Dan and I came out here and we were just looking for a big shitty Fight Club house, and we found one in St.
You and
John's,
Dan Gower?
and
That's
it was
weird
like
or
and it was like
interesting.
nine, maybe 1050 a month for this 5 bedroom, giant backyard, basement, full house in St. John's.
Love
The
that.
area was shit back then.
Yeah.
It was like dilapidated apartments, and I think there was just like a lot of old haggard people walking around. But I
It's
made
great.
art for the year, and they played music, and they actually did pretty well in the starting to do pretty well in the Portland area. But I
You
think we
were a
all kind of
great
decided
band.
like that we should come back and like finish college, and so we came back after that one year. And I just didn't really like Portland then because I felt so disconnected to everything. But it wasn't when I came back in 2007. I started off by coming back to like the Northwest, like Pearl area, which is almost like a little San Francisco in a way. And that was really nice. And I started to like Portland again. But that year in 2001, I was like, man, Portland's shitty.
I didn't move to Portland until 2003.
Yeah.
But I lived in St. John's, but a decade or more after you did, and it was a lot worse back then.
It got
But
nicer.
affordable. It's not affordable
Yeah.
anymore.
Y'all
But
fuckers gentrified the place.
it was our fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, James, we are here to talk about. I mean, we've been talking about a lot about basically the theme of your book, Buffer Zone.
Thank
I
you.
mean, like I feel like the gist of all of our conversations is almost, especially you being in the service industry, who you dedicate the book to is the folks in the service industry. But yeah, it's like we all protect ourselves in some way from strangers, people. You especially and me have a lot in common because I read the whole book, and yeah, we do a lot of the same shit and have had a lot of the same experiences throughout life, honestly. But the how you deflect confrontation by going somewhere else and basically not acknowledging the shitty person in front of you and just getting through
Like
with
in
it.
your mind.
Yeah, it's like that's what I
Yeah.
do too, is like when you encounter a shitty person like your Val Kilmer's, and then you were drunk, so you shot it back at him, but that's not your normal go-to.
No, I wouldn't do that now.
Yes, yeah, your go-to.
Well, yeah, okay.
you
Yeah.
you usually
Back then I could see that.
ignore and move on and all that stuff. But I love the book, by the way.
Thank you.
I think it's great. I got absorbed into it. I found myself reading it more than I was looking at the pictures. I was like, oh shit, I'm not even looking at the drawings. I'm just like reading the stories and like getting into it. So it's well written. So good job.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Matt Whitman actually helped me edit a
Oh,
lot
really?
of the English. Oh yeah, I think it was a nightmare for him because he was like, dude, he's like, you got to get rid of all these fucking commas, because I grew up in the writing. I learned like you
I
just
do
like
the
a
same
comma.
thing. Me
Same
too.
here.
It
Too
drove
many
him
commas.
crazy.
Yeah. Too many commas. Yeah.
Listen, you were right.
But so what? I mean, I guess you kind of revealed that it was born of the pandemic, but is this a book that's always been brewing?
So it actually started. I've been working on it off and on for a very long time. It actually started in like 2008. I was that first chapter where I'm at the
Mm,
cafe and there's the woman sort of up in my grill and
mm-hmm.
making and I'm getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That really happened, and when that happened, all of a sudden this memory came to me. I was like, oh shit. When I was a kid, I used to put these cereal boxes around me like in the morning because I just was like weirded out by other people eating around me and I didn't like to eat. And so like the memory came back and then I thought, well, that would make a nice little short comic book. And so I made it into a little story, uh, above all trying to make it funny. And I shopped it around at the time and then I made a couple more issues. But it wasn't until like 2015 where I really was like, you know what, I should take the three chapters that I had, basically the first three chapters and or first three issues, and turn them into chapters, add some color because it used to just be black and white,
Mm-hmm.
and then do like a couple more chapters. And so then from maybe 2015 until about 2021, I was just working on it nonstop, exclusively trying to just finish this thing. But it was the pandemic that finally gave me the time where I didn't have to work. I wasn't waiting tables and I could just focus on it. And I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get this chunk of time again. And so I just, every day during the pandemic, I got up and I worked all day on it. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
the pandemic was very productive time for me. I did not have
Right.
the I'm bored, I don't know what to do with myself feeling. I was busy.
Yeah.
And,
I did.
but I got it done.
Yeah.
And it's
Awesome.
weird because if you go back and look at the book, I was thinking about how, like, in the first chapter, I'm much younger than I am, like, in the last chapter,
Mm,
because
Yeah.
the character changed over the years as I kept drawing myself, and eventually kind of became a fictionalized. It's a fictionalized version of me.
mm-hmm.
So it's not
Mhm.
totally autobiographical. It's why I kind of call it like auto fiction or graphic memoir. But there's a little bit of deviation from my real life and the character in this book, but it's very much based upon just all the weird shit in my head.
Right.
And I almost tried to think of it as like if I were doing stand up, like instead of getting on a stage and doing stand up comedy, you took the images from your mind and just like put them in a book and wrote down the monologue in my head.
I
And
like
that's
that
kind of,
because you're a gifted illustrator, and you always have been, and you do have a style that's, um, I'm sure you've heard this, that it's similar, a little similar to our Crumb.
yeah, I've heard
It-
that.
yeah, it's great. There's a lot. It's like comic cross hatching and like what did you say, graphic memoir, or loosely
Yeah,
based on your personality. And
self
yeah, I thought
deprecating.
it was really great. I especially loved my favorite illustration, of course, is the one of your like I would call it a cross section or MRI head brain.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was really beautiful. That was really cool. But there were a lot of things I really enjoyed, and I think the title is Buffer Zone, and the cereal boxes created a buffer between yourself and your family who were eating disgustingly, as people do. And I have to say, when I was growing up, I had no buffer. I never knew I was allowed to have buffers. And into adulthood, very few, and still very few buffers, not a lot of filter. But
You
it's
are
so
who James was
important.
hiding himself from.
What's that?
So you are who James was hiding himself from. You'd be
Probably,
on the
but
other
we're
side of those
pretty.
cereal
We
boxes.
we James. I remember. Well, first off, I used to call you Jim J. Bullock. Do you remember that?
Yes. And you
Do
still
you know who
can.
Jim J. Bullock is?
Talk about a Hollywood
Um,
square.
I'm pretty sure you told me, but I don't remember.
He was a regular on Hollywood Squares, and he's just this like B actor that was on. Tammy Faye Baker and him had some kind of a talk show because he's like a very flamboyant character, and she was sort of a drag in a way star. But he was on Hollywood Squares and some other shows in the 80s. But
Forget. Yeah.
anywho, Jim J. Bullock. And I remember many times, because we would get hammered at Cinema Cafe, I would pour heavy pours of wine, sometimes port in a full glass of wine, and we'd play pool afterwards. And I remember sometimes I'd sit on Jimmy James's lap.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would enjoy. So I can buy that. I think you gave me a haircut once too.
Oh, I thought that.
I probably
thought
did.
you were.
I still am doing
You
haircut.
started that word started with an H, and I thought you were going somewhere else. Oh, you gave me a hand job once.
No.
I was a prude. I'm like a tease.
Now we're getting
She
into
she always had a partner. I think the whole time I've known Emily, she had a partner.
Yeah.
So I never took her to Long John Silver's for that Admiral Feast.
Damn, I would have really enjoyed that. Admiral's Feast is Red Lobster, honey.
Oh, I don't know. I remember you posted something online about how you were really into. Maybe it's Red Lobster. You're really
I'm
into, like,
into
this
Red Lobster, but I also
fried fish feast.
I love the crab legs there. We go. I take the kids a lot because I can drink. And
I can't drink at Long John Silver.
Weird.
I
told some friends about it recently who were like really fancy dudes, and they went and they'd never been to Red Lobster in their lives, and they were like, "This is so fun! It's like I'm at the airport."
I went to Long John Silver's one time in Santa Fe with Raul and I think Chris and Dan, and it was so gross. And they actually gave me the fried fish on like it was the garnished with little pieces of batter, so it was on a bed of batter,
just grease.
I was like, that's not fancy. Yeah,
did
not
you ring
my thing.
You didn't ring the bell on the way out?
I don't remember.
That's like there's a Long John Silver's in my hometown, and I went there I think one time in high school, and I just remember they have a bell at the exit because if you like the service, you ring the bell on the way out to say good job to the employees.
I gotta go. I live like right across the street from
just check. I bet they still
do
the
you?
bell.
I do.
I just
Taco Bell
eating fish in Santa Fe. I don't know about eating fish in Santa Fe.
The landlocked
I got real
seafood
sick
idea
from the Espanola Long John Silver's and never went back.
Yeah.
And here's the thing:
always frozen, never fresh.
Like who is going? First and foremost, I do go to Taco Bell a lot. I'll go through the drive-through. There's always people eating inside, and I just think, wow, good for them.
You got to go somewhere.
You got to go. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, but it's also like not centrally located necessarily. But like, yeah, the Long John Silver's crowd. I got to get inside of there. Let's make a pact.
Yeah.
Pinky promise. Goonies pact. We will each go to Long John Silver's in our area.
I don't have one, I think. But
I was going to say, I might be coming to, I'm trying to come out to Santa Fe.
You have to.
So it's a whole nother, I don't want to get into, it's too long to get into, but I'm actually maybe trying to do a podcast with Chris Grossi and my other friend, Josh Jacobson, because we had this epic story from back in like 1999, 2000, where we went to Tijuana, Mexico, and we ended up getting arrested and spent the night in a jail cell.
Whoa.
That's the beginning of the story.
Wow.
It's a fucking adventure. So I was like, maybe we should get together, just record our versions of the story, and maybe it would be a good podcast to put out. I'm not sure, but it'd also be great just to reconnect and shoot the shit for a while. So I'm thinking about trying to go out there in the spring, trying to talk to Chris about it. And but I mean, I haven't been to Santa Fe in so long, probably not since Chris's and Emily's weddings. I think that was the same, like,
but we are one in the same.
It was the same weekend, right?
Sorry. Yes.
No, because you had two weddings. It was your wedding and it was Chris and Rachel's wedding.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's two different ones.
Wow.
Labor Day 2008. Speaking of,
no one was in labor. What a bummer.
I know. Well,
not yet.
Rachel sent me this question. I wasn't sure if I should ask it, but since you mentioned Tijuana and getting arrested, I think it's probably okay. And I'm going to spring it on you. And if you don't like that I did this, I'm sorry.
Here we go.
It's okay. I'm ready.
Okay. So Rachel wrote, now this was really more about the dingus in a way.
Okay.
This is before we knew you were going to be on the show. She wrote just recently, let's see, this was December 7th. She said, Does the dingus remember Jimmy James on acid yelling
Oh,
at him to go back in his dorm or he'd kill him, and then coming to sheepishly apologize later? Chris
yes.
thinks it was him, but he isn't sure. Jim also gave Will his wallet and told him to keep it safe for a few days, and chased Andy Sell, who was playing a trombone at the time. Poor Jim had a lot of reparations to make after that night.
Yeah, that was another crazy night, and it was unfortunate because it was fairly early in the freshman school year. It's like maybe October or like the beginning of November, and there's always these sort of like, I don't want to call them hippies because that was a specific time, but people who are kind of like traveling, wandering
They weren't really
people,
going to school there.
and who weren't going to school, but they would come and hang out sometimes, and they would have these vials of LSD where it's
Right.
like a dropper, and then you just stick out your tongue, and it's like, good luck, man.
Oh
And so it
God.
was one of those nights, and
This is why we are
it's a
this way.
long. I'll try to summarize the story, but basically, yeah, I was on acid, and I just kept thinking my heart was going to explode, and so then I kept like, and I for some reason I kept taking off my clothes everywhere we went, and like freaking out, and so eventually they corner me into our like dorm hallway, and I see the Will you mentioned. That's William Jackson Harper from The Good Place,
Yeah, he's
famous
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 again.
actor.
And
So
Okay.
Midsommar.
I see him down the hall, and at this point I'm shirtless. I've got no shoes, no. I'm kind of like the Hulk, just a pair of khakis, and I'm charging up and down the hallway. And I run up to him and I slam my wallet in his hand. And I remember saying like, "Will, look after my wallet until I'm better," and then like running away. And
Smart.
yeah, it was like the next
Smart.
day I had to go back like 11 hours later and be like, "Can I get my wallet back?" And
I love
he
it.
just like handed it to me. But yeah, it was crazy. Eventually, they got me in the room. I think I was like kind of jumping from bed to bed, just like freaking out. And I was definitely threatening to kill a lot of people because, like, basically anyone who I sensed I didn't like their energy or whatever. I was like, I'll kill you. Get
They
away from
need to
me.
die. Yeah.
And then eventually it was Raul. All of a sudden, I'm freaking out. If I ever become famous and do a commercial for Dr. Pepper, this is the commercial. Me telling the story and then saying how Raul, all of a sudden, I just hear, and it's Raul opening a can of Dr. Pepper, and he just hands it to me. I take a sip, I take another sip, and I'm like, okay. I stop jumping on the beds. I put my clothes back on, and I sit in the chair. And I'm like, wow, I think I feel better. And then the rest of the trip, that was like the first 3 hours of the trip. And then the rest of the trip, I think I went and got like 2 cartons of cigarettes and gave everybody cigarettes, and like it was all like lovey dovey. I'm sorry. I love all of you. That's kind of how
Reparation.
trips are. It's like the first
Yeah.
couple of hours, or, I always knew it was coming on when I would look at the ceiling, that like pockmarked ceiling in the dorms, and I would start to see ants crawling around. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
the ants are back. I know I'm tripping now.
Here it comes.
Uh, so that was a rough night, and it was early on. So I think after that, it was a lot tougher for me to get laid because I think at that point, women are like, he's a psycho. And at
We
that
all
time, I
did.
also my big thing was like shock value humor. So basically, anything fucked up that you could say to get a laugh, I would say.
Mm.
And so I don't think I developed a very good reputation that first year because I was out on my own. I was very, I'd never been out on my own. I was kind of like, if you're putting labels on it, my family was the Simpsons. I guess I would have been more of the Lisa Simpson, like
Oh,
previously to college,
mhm.
and then had my Bart phase, like,
We could be
you know.
whoever we wanted there.
And
See,
so
yeah,
it was a
that's
dark. I only have one page that I dedicate to college in the book.
I was
it's
a
an
little
epic page. I
disappointed.
love that transition to college in the book.
Yeah,
Wanted
it's a
more.
graphic page. It's a very graphic page, but it really sums up my feelings about that time in my life. It was as much fun as we had. It was also a very dark time for
Yeah,
me where I
Same.
just
Yeah.
didn't know who I
yeah.
was, didn't know what to do. I hadn't figured it out yet. And it was just a lot of partying and drugs, and I don't regret it because I realize now, I was always kind of destined to go that route because I needed to know what that sort of like drug side of life was. And I'm not going to blame movies, but definitely like
Mhm.
Basketball Diaries, Pulp Fiction, fucking, Drugstore Cowboy, like all these movies in the 90s. It's like this life of doing hard drugs. And, eventually I got into it. And that freshman year, it started with weed. Then I went to hallucinogenics. And then I think around Thanksgiving, everybody had pills. And then I remember going away for Christmas and coming back, and the guys were just doing lines. And I was like, okay, I guess we're doing lines. And then we're smoking fucking crack and doing all kinds of shit. I did a
I
lot that
never
year.
got
And it
to
was,
smoke crack. There's still time, but
I
I've
mean,
heard it's great. Like people
It's
love
great.
it.
It's cracked. It's great.
if you like
Mr.
uppers,
Shoujo. Yeah, it's great.
I'm a downer guy now. I like weed. I like things that chill me out.
Well, just to clear it up, it was Rachel who sent that question.
Yeah. She must not have been there.
I was not there. I was not there.
Yeah, there was a big guy there.
Yeah, that was
maybe
before my
Eric,
time, right? Like,
I wonder if it was Eric Cousineau.
And I never hung
Eric
out.
Cousineau?
I never hung out with that crew, like hardly ever. I don't think I ever hung out with him one time, unless we were at. I'm sure we were obviously at the same place at the same time a lot. Never hung out with them, and I don't think I was there in this story at all, unless I
think it was a year before I was there.
Yeah, so I don't. She's got me confused.
I
don't think she was there.
Is playing the trombone. Like that's my favorite part. Andy selling the trombone.
That
I mean, really, it should have been Chris asking the question. I don't think Rachel was going.
She wasn't there. Maybe he probably
maybe it was secondhand. Maybe it was secondhand.
I got a good Chris. I have a good story about Chris Grassi and I that I can tell on this podcast, and I don't think he'll be upset because it's not really. He doesn't look bad in the story, but there is a Smith's in Santa Fe, the one right by campus. I don't know if it's still there.
It is.
But Chris and I don't know if Chris has gone back, but technically both of us are banned for life from the Smiths because
not gone back.
one time we went there and I remember I was like, I got to stop at the store. We went to the store and I think I was trying to quit smoking. So I was buying nicotine patches. And so I spent, they're expensive. It was like $50 for a box of nicotine patches. And while we're walking around searching for them, I ate a donut, paid for the box. We're walking out and the security guard jumps in front of me and says, "No, sir, you are not leaving. You're coming with me." And like takes me up these little stairs to this little room and takes Chris too and sits us down and like takes our pictures and stuff. And Chris is like, they're like, "You ate that donut and you didn't pay for it." And I was like, I was like, "I'll give you $1 right now. It's like 5 cents."
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And they're taking our pictures and like another person walks by and they're like, "Oh, what'd they do?" And the guy's like, "They were grazing." Was when I learned what the term is. And Chris is like, "I didn't even do anything. I didn't eat a donut." And they're like, "You didn't try to stop him."
Oh my God.
You were right next
to
neither
did everyone else in the store should have been banned too. Yeah. No one stopped.
And so they took our pictures and put them on the little cork board or whatever. And then I was like, "Whatever, man, okay." And I don't think I ever went back there, but I was like, that's the dumbest shit in the world because it's one thing if you're not spending money, but if you're spending money, give them a free donut,
Take a donut.
You spend $50, get a donut. Free donut.
Yeah, I always thought that was really ridiculous. I remember us just afterwards not even really being upset, just laughing our asses off at like he's an accomplice to me eating a donut.
The same exact thing happened to me in my hometown Walmart when it first opened. Same exact thing. A group of us got kicked out because somebody was doing something.
He juked.
And
he juked.
Oh no, that was later. We did that later. We did that after I was kicked out. But yeah, I remember this. It was the same thing. They're like, remember the face. Like telling everyone whatever. It was just like this whole debacle. Like, we didn't even do anything, but one of our friends is whatever. Fuck that. That's
this explains a lot because Rachel was telling me like 6 months ago that Chris ate some cheese from their refrigerator and vehemently denied that he did so until finally he admitted, I ate the cheese. Now I know why. PTSD.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That's weird he would lie about that cheese.
That's a weird thing to lie about, but I mean, in his brain, he has no choice. He's going to get kicked out of the house forever.
That's probably true. She might really be upset with him for the whole evening. Who knows? Yeah. It's cheese. I mean, cheese tax. We all love cheese.
You eat the last piece of cheese in my house. I'm the only person in the house that can't eat the last piece of cheese, or I'll be murdered by my son or my wife. Yeah.
See? It's very valuable. Listen,
So I've been
guys,
making.
why don't you talk amongst yourselves and make a new drink?
All right.
Oh,
Um,
oh God.
Well,
oh,
well, just for the people, and if anybody's watching, this is the book, Buffer
there it
Zone.
is.
It's available on Amazon, Kindle, um, paperback, and digital versions. And basically, I'm assuming we can put a little link in the when you guys.
Sure.
This isn't live, is it?
No,
No, it's not
it's
live.
just a
Yeah, we can
Zoom.
put
It's a Zoom call. I'll load it
yeah,
up later and figure it out. We'll
yeah.
figure it
So
out.
maybe we'll have a little link on the
Sure.
Spotify or whatever. And then,
Absolutely.
but if you don't want to use a link, you could go to Amazon, your Amazon shopping. You could go to the books category. You can go to the comics and graphic novels subcategory, and then type in Buffer Zone, and it'll pop right up. It won't pop up in your main shopping search because there is some swearing and nudity, and so Amazon sort of categorizes it as explicit
Uh-huh.
content, and so it's not. I don't think you can just randomly find it if you're looking for like drapes and all that other shit. You have to go to the books section
Oh, really? You just can't type in
on it.
buffer zone James Michael
No, it won't.
Williams?
It won't come up that way. You
Huh.
have to go to
Interesting.
the books. It's a little weird, but and I also have a link through my website, jamesmichaelwilliams.net, and
Yeah, we'll post links to
yeah,
all that shit.
I really hope people buy it and read it because above all, I really consider it just something that I wanted to make that's really funny and really entertaining to people. And even though there really aren't any characters in it except me, I realized that after I wrote it, I was like, it's kind of just one guy,
Well, yeah, but
but
you
it's still
experience a lot
engaging,
of.
I think.
I think so. Well, you experience a lot of characters in the book that we all experience, and that's what I love about the book because I relate to a shit ton of the stories that you tell, and then you have that whole thing about how everyone's awful and disgusting, but beautiful and amazing at the same time. Like, and we all think crazy shit and we all whatever, but we don't do the shit that we're thinking. Kind of like,
Yeah,
we're all like fucking thinking wild shit all day, every day.
yeah,
But, reality is reality and you don't act these things out, but everyone has their escape and everyone has their way to buffer themselves from the other people, like, and you're very aware that the people that you're buffering yourself from are buffering themselves from you too, like,
yeah,
because and you said it, you are annoying and you are fucking just this the same person to them as they are to you sometimes, because we all
yeah,
are, like, you're the asshole or you're the fucking you're the person fucking their day up for whatever, like, you're not trying to, but sometimes in a situation you're just that guy for some reason, whatever, and you're at least aware of that, like, we're all the villain, we're all the hero,
yeah,
and I think you go about it in this pretty fun way of talking about it, and I can relate to a lot of actually, dude, a lot of the stories that you tell, like the shit about going down the stairs like a ninja and trying to cut the TV
yeah,
on in the middle of the night without cutting the volume, like having to, like, old
yeah,
school TV, dude. I used to do that. And like your dreams about flying, I have dreams that I can't fly, but I can float, like levitate and jump really long
I
oh,
have
distances,
nice.
jumping dreams.
like
Yeah,
glide for fucking ever.
me too.
And your story about the first grade crush rejecting you and then moving away, dude, I was in love in kindergarten,
Oh,
in
really?
love with, her name was, I remember, it sounds fake, but her name was Sarah Guitar, and man, I was in love with her, so in love, and then she moved away in first grade,
Yeah,
and I still talk to her best friend, or I used to when I lived back home. Her best friend at the time remembers, it's legendary, my crush on this girl.
yeah.
And I
I'm
had
glad you
another.
brought that up, Dingle, because I was going to tell Jim James.
You can call me Jimmy James.
I can.
It's cool. So there's remember Gina from College of Santa Fe?
It be
So
Gina.
she has always had a free pass. Every time I see her, there's no conversation about it. She just says Jimmy James. And
Can't help
so,
it.
and
Okay,
I'm
good.
okay with it. But for the listeners who don't know anything about any of it, let me just do a very brief explanation.
Mhm.
When I first started college, making friends is tough, and I tried my best to be outgoing and make friends. And one of the first friends I made was Mr. Michael Patterson, who we all called Cowboy,
Cowboy.
who and he, is from Texas, and we were hanging out a lot. And we still keep in touch. We're still
He's
friends.
great.
But he was like, "Man, you need a nickname," and I was like, "No, I'm okay." And he's like something cool like Jesse James. He's like, "I'll call you Jimmy James," and I was like, "No, I don't think I'm into it." And he was like, "Come on," and he just started calling me Jimmy James. And then I think one night I got wasted at a party, and I was like, "I'm Jimmy
You
James,"
are Jimmy
and
James.
that was the name just stuck
The
for
declaration.
years and years.
It's classic. Like
But
there's a
yeah,
couple classic. Jimmy James. Like my old man would say, it sings. It's got
yeah,
a ring to
yeah,
it. And Casual Colin,
I was gonna say
same
yeah.
great fucking nickname. Like
I would have
Galloping
kept
Lily
it. I would have kept
Jimmy
it,
or
but
James
Chain.
is good.
the main reason I stopped with it is it was kind of like once I stopped really being debaucherous and like trying to destroy myself with drugs and alcohol, I just wanted to sort of be a little bit more of an artist, a serious artist.
Mature.
And I was like, and also I think I went on a date with a woman and she was like, "That's so weird. Your last name's like your first name." And I was like, "That's not my real name, right?" And I gotta
Oh, so
stop
that
with
was
this
your
Jimmy
last.
James.
I never thought it was your last name.
Yeah,
Don't they call
Some
the guy from My Morning Jacket Jimmy James also?
no. I think his name is it Jim James
Yeah,
or
yeah.
James? I forget his name,
close
but
enough.
it's something similar. But I mean,
Yeah,
I
I thought about
think
using it. Like sometimes I do stand-up comedy, and I was like, that'd be a good little like stand-up comedy name. But I don't know if I want to go back to it. Open
it's
that doorway.
memorable. It's a memorable name, but you associate it with the time that you don't necessarily
Debaucherous.
like to, you know,
Yeah,
be you want to disassociate yourself because
Oh,
that name is tied to that time.
you gotta
yeah,
embrace it.
I mean,
yeah. I guess I
you
just
could
Part of
redefine.
you.
You could redefine. You
yeah,
know,
Integrate. Integrate.
we're just saying we love Jimmy James as a name. It's just it's got a ring. It sings.
yeah.
It's
I
like,
know it does. I know it's a good one. Michael, he gives good nicknames.
Yeah, a guy
he's
named
cool.
Cowboy
You know
gave it
what's
to you.
funny? Like, he was the first person I met. Well, not the first person I met, but he was one of the people I met when I went to the Santa Fe Fiesta like
Oh
weekend to
yeah,
see if I wanted to go to College of Santa Fe. And I have a Polaroid of him and a group of people. I should get that out. I also have a photo of you in the same scrapbook. And I just remember being like, these people are cool misfits. Like they're weird, they're interesting, like they're people I would like to hang out with. And Cowboy sold me on the place. And I remember Cowboy had a really good music taste. And I happened to come from a hometown with a real, like, kind of cool liberal arts college there. And this band, The Frogs, like a really obscure band, played there. And he was really into the Frogs. He was really into the Sun City Girls. And I love those bands.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I'll go wherever this man is going. I think this is the
yeah.
right
In life, I'll follow him forever.
We had Jane's Addiction. I remember that was like a big
Great.
conversational talking point was Jane's Addiction
And
because he was
Kyle,
into it.
loved him.
Hey,
Kyle and
it
they were way
fits.
into it.
Been caught stealing with Jimmy James.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I was thinking was,
Caught stealing a donut. What do you know?
oh, I see it. So, excuse me. What I was thinking, God damn, that cough made me forget what I was thinking. Oh, I know. Was that girl wrote a mean thing on your. Now you're gonna have to buy the book to find out what she wrote.
Oh, the
okay?
first grade crush.
First grade crush.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty harsh, man.
there's nothing more funny than a real name. And you wrote her first and last name.
That's
And
true.
I'm gonna find her.
It might not be her last name anymore, but if she's that mean,
I
she's
will
still
still
single.
find
Shit,
her.
I'm trying to remember if I made up a name or if that's the real name.
Well, you just let me know because I'm gonna go to her doorstep and
she's
kick her ass, grab her by the hair and slam down.
Like
I
you
don't
were so
think
mean when you were.
Oh yeah, no, that is her name, Aaron
Oh,
Strauss.
There's
I did
Strauss
put
can
her
fuck
name in.
right off.
Yeah, but But just so you know,
You want to tell the story?
This is part
No,
of
they
the.
have to buy the book.
No,
They have
no,
to
we gotta
buy the
sell the
book,
book.
but this is part of the buffer zone
Yeah.
of the book. Is that, it's not just about literal buffer zones of like a space between us, but it's also about a buffer zone between like your memory and your imagination,
Oh,
your
yeah,
fantasy and reality. And
yeah.
so like in that instance, I kind of I know it's, maybe morally questionable or whatever. I don't think so. I combined two stories. So there is one story with the
Artistic
note,
license.
and then one story with the first grade and Valentine's Day and giving her all the presents. So it was two different girls actually. So Aaron Strauss, I don't know if she needs to rot in hell because it was actually a different girl who wrote the note.
Poor
But
Aaron Strauss taken
the,
astray for someone.
but the
Sorry,
name is
Aaron
great.
Strauss.
It's a perfect like little,
Release your
kid
hair.
crush name. But yeah, that was a lot of little moments like that. You're talking about middle school earlier, and I know I devoted a little time in the book to mentioning my middle school experience, and it was tough. It was a lot of. I did not like middle school. I think that was some of my least favorite time uh, in life was middle school. At least in high school, I felt like I was like kind of, I don't know,
You came into your own a little
becoming.
bit.
Coming into
Yeah,
your own.
becoming something. But in middle school, you're still growing. I remember the first when I was hitting puberty, the first thing that got big was my feet, and so I was constantly tripping over my feet all the time, and it was like I grew from like the ground up.
Like
And
clown.
yeah, like a clown. And so that was awkward. And I just remember in eighth grade, oh my God, it was like just girls suddenly being into me and me not knowing how to handle it or communicate with them. And it was like this constant battle of like, I think this girl likes me. And then it would be like, no, maybe she doesn't like me. And I
Yeah.
could never figure it out. I was just very frustrated all the time. I remember.
Yeah.
I think
And I
that's
remember I remember a
developmentally like
school.
right on. I
There's
think
a
that's what you're
Yeah.
supposed to feel.
I remember a school dance specifically where I was like went out into the hallway for some reason because I was feeling sad, and the song "I Would Do Anything for Love" by Meatloaf was
Yeah.
playing in the. I could hear it in the background in the
I don't want to
dance,
do that.
and I'm just sitting in the hallway staring at my feet, just like nobody loves me.
Oh, my big feet. Me and my big feet.
You were waiting for someone to come out and make the first
I
move.
can't dance with these
Yeah,
feet.
yeah, it was it was a rough time. I would not want to relive that time. Sometimes I think about like I don't know if you ever think about this, like, what if I accidentally went back in time, like a quantum leap sort of thing, and like, was my consciousness now in a younger version of me? Like, I fucking invest in all these companies and be a billionaire, and I'd be like the most popular kid in school or whatever, because I'd just have all this wisdom. In reality, I think it would be a goddamn nightmare to go back and have to relive any school
I would.
experience
Oh yeah. If you're not,
or any of
It's a
that.
whole-
you don't want to go through middle school with an adult brain.
No, and all the hormones would come back, so you wouldn't
Awful.
even be able to. You probably wouldn't
Awful.
even be cool around women or girls because you'd have all those teenage hormones, and so you'd be fucking
Awful.
idiot again.
Be awful.
Maybe
See,
trying to fuck the teacher.
yeah,
Yeah, that
you'd
would
be way
be.
more into the teacher there. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. But then you'd have to start questioning their life decisions, what their mortgage is. Like, you have to start really as a middle schooler thinking how are you going to benefit from dating this teacher, and what's the living situation, the pet situation, the kid situation,
yeah.
you
Well, I
know.
mean, come on. I'm not going to date someone who's a high school teacher on that salary. No, come on. No,
No,
I'm joking.
not
I was gonna
interested,
say
not interested. You're like,
sometimes
this
I do.
this fucking loser, get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just
Sometimes I do look back at the CSF days and I think, man, I would have married Pete Van Leeuwen. This guy
Oh,
is rich now.
yeah.
Van Leeuwen.
like, like,
Well, I don't think he would have
man.
been. He wouldn't have settled down then. I don't think.
No, that's what I
Oh
thought that
wait,
through.
I
I thought
think I
that
know who
through.
that is.
There are other people who I won't
Yeah.
mention where I'm like, they were a catch. They were a real
How is he
catch.
rich? How is he
Should have
rich?
tried harder with
Oh,
them.
Van Leeuwen ice cream, bro.
Never
Yeah,
heard
do you
of it.
know Van Leeuwen ice cream?
You never
No.
heard of it? It's
Well, go
huge.
to your local organic store and it's in the freezer aisle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it probably is. I kind of knew him, I think. He was a nice guy.
I can
He's
see this
great.
because, like, I
Yeah.
love his wife, Abby Luck, who is like
Yeah.
another amazing illustrator.
Yeah, I remember that name. I don't know if I know her though.
She's great. She's just like fucking cool. Like, take the art piece away, she's really cool, but like her art's incredible.
Okay.
But Chris and Rachel were telling me sometimes he'll come to Santa Fe, or they'll both come to Santa Fe, and he'll
Private jet.
play music, huh? On a jet. Yeah. No, but Chris was telling me this. Like, they got like a house on the hill, like in Brentwood, weirdly. Like, it's a long story, but
Is that in California?
I don't know what it's called. Of course, Chris and Rachel know. It's like a European term of like a trolley that goes up to their fucking house.
Oh wow. Well, I
Like
hope someday to have my own trolley.
a smart
I'm working
waiter
on it.
instead of a dumb waiter.
Work on it, baby. We got, hey, you know
I'm
what?
working on it.
Mr. Rogers trolley available to us at all times. I feel like we're just like,
Yeah.
so
That's when you know you've made it.
thin.
That's when you know you've made
Yeah.
it.
Well, you've made it when you, like, I was just watching the John Oliver latest episode, and he was talking about Elon Musk, and he was showing old photos. He was talking about all the shit Elon's done from in his past and up till now, and he was showing these old photos of him, and I was like, what? That's what he looked like? He like looks way different. He's like bald and just, I guess he's had a lot of work
alien.
done.
He looks like an
But
alien.
I think that's when you get super rich, you know it, because suddenly you've got hair again and your face looks like a mannequin, and
Lots
you
of
get
filler.
radicalized.
That's when you know you made it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get radicalized on Twitter.
I don't understand.
Let's never
it.
make it. Let's never make a pact now to never make it ever. If that's what it is.
Probably you have
make
your own
it-
robot once you're
If
rich.
we
You have
make
your own
it, like,
robot.
let's not
Of course, like Rocky.
focus on buying Twitter. Like, let's focus on some real shit.
Yeah.
What a
But it does lead me to something else I was thinking of is my partner and I, we were talking about artificial intelligence, because there's a lot of things you watch, robots and AI, and people get all worried. But I was talking to her about how I believe that, like, when I have an emotion like anger, sadness, anxiety, these kinds of things, there's a physical component to that emotion that I feel.
sure.
And I'm like, if you don't have a body and you can't feel, like, let's say you're scared and you're like, if you don't have a body and you can't have that feeling, that part of the feeling, then I feel like, how can you even have the emotion? Or how can you even process the emotion the same way? I feel like there's a physical part that's essential to it. And so I don't know how that would work with AI having emotions. Like that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett, where it's like she doesn't have a body. She's just sort of like a brain and a voice. So, like, why would she even have emotions? She can't feel anything. I don't know. My partner argued that
love
maybe they
this.
could. It's a different
No.
set of electrical signals. I don't know the answer, but I just thought it was an interesting question.
I imagine, like,
It's
I imagine,
digital
like,
and
AI
analog, baby.
I think AI may become so intelligent that they actually do experience these floods of emotions, but they don't last. Like, they're
Yeah.
like wise Zen people, like clouds moving across the sky. Like, oh, I'm feeling fear, but I'm going to pause and I'm going to use my intellect to solve this problem. I
guess, but
really think it's going to be a beneficial thing.
It's a
But isn't
life.
fear
It's a
like
life
the blood?
lived.
Your blood pressure rises. You breathe faster. Your heart's beating. Isn't that a part of fear?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it also it's all of
Can you
your
simulate that?
reactions.
They
all
might
of
be
your
able to
reactions
think
are.
that.
But it's from
Hmm.
your experience. Like if you have no life experience, real life experience to draw on, that you are. A lot of these reactions are based on shit that you've experienced in your life
PTSD.
before. So
Yes.
you're going to react a certain way to a certain situation because you've either seen it before, you haven't, or whatever.
You're right back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's none of that. It's just, I mean, I don't fucking care about whatever. I don't know, but
You
it's just,
better fucking care, because next week we're having AI, Dr. Donut, and Dingus.
Gonna
yeah.
have
And you know what?
Yeah.
Jimmy James and the buffer zone's coming.
Nice.
But listen, this makes sense to me, because with the buffer zone, like, I was thinking a lot about it from a psychological perspective, and I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of discomfort. And like the discomfort is like kind of physical,
Yeah.
right? So, what up with that?
Well, I will say I did take. I mean, I don't know how valid these results are, but I did take an online quiz. I don't know, a month ago or so, that said that I'm most likely somewhere on the spectrum, and
Sure.
I was not surprised at all.
Yeah.
I've realized since I've gotten older, I was like, what really triggers me is well, I don't know if trigger is the right word, but what really
Mm,
sort of gets my uncomfortable feelings going is sounds and smells. So when I have a sound that I can't control, that I don't like, that really drives me crazy, like a car alarm in the background
Mm,
or something like that, or a dog
same,
that
yeah, yeah.
barks all fucking night. That shit drives me nuts. We used to live in an apartment where we were on the first floor, and the people above us, it was like a family, and they were nice people, but they were just
oh, it's
oblivious.
all you
And
can
they
always
they
hear it.
bought a
Yeah.
they bought a drum set for their kid. So the
Oh,
Oh
fucking the
no.
bad.
fucking kid is, and they knew we could hear it because I had already contacted them about being able to hear their alarm clock through the ceiling, and how they press snooze like every like 10 times, so the fucking thing just kept going off. So they knew. But so like
Need a
sounds
bunch
really
of
get
these,
me.
honey. Need a bunch of these.
What
What are those?
the fuck is that?
Sound machine.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's a big one.
Auditory
But
buffer
then
zone.
That looks like
that,
the
and
smokeless
then
ashtray from
sound
Gremlins.
we just watched Gremlins.
Christmas one.
And we had some questions that came up that it's just a little side note from what I was saying before, but I got to
Please.
deviate because
By all means.
this gremlin thing's interesting. We were talking about how I never thought about this before. My partner brought it up that they multiply with water and they're running around in the fucking snow. Like, what is snow? Aren't they just constantly multiplying? And then
No,
they're also in the bar drinking beer. It's like,
well,
I don't know.
it's the Mogwai that can't get hit with water.
No, all the gremlins too, because Stripe jumps in the pool
Oh, and
with all
they
the
get
chlorine and
those
shit, and
bumps.
yeah.
Look,
But anyways,
this
so
is a fictional story. This isn't real.
but also smells get me a lot too, of like things that I can't control, like somebody sitting next to me wearing a lot of cologne in a restaurant or something. That
What
stuff
about
just gets to me.
clothes? What about things like tags, or like you took your
Oh
clothes off when you were on the LSD?
yeah, I did.
Well, it's
I
just
don't
about
know. I
being
mean,
free.
I do like to be naked, when I'm alone. uh I went
You're a
to a
spa
nudist
boy.
beach
You a
once and it was
spa boy.
awesome.
You need to get in the spa.
You went to
I
Sabi
do.
Island? You went to Sabi Island?
Nah, yeah, I went to Savi Island,
Yeah.
I don't know, years ago with someone I was dating, and it was the first time I'd been to the nude side,
Yeah, I've
and
been there.
it was great swimming around, throwing a
There's
frisbee,
always a
just
creepy person in the bushes kind of acting like they're doing
yeah, you
something.
got to watch out for the bushes. You don't
I
Yeah.
go
would
near the
love that.
bushes.
Yeah.
Like that would make me feel more comfortable. I'm like, there's a
Oh, you'd love
weirdo in
it.
the bushes. Like
You'd
I can do whatever the fuck I want.
you'd love
Well,
Sabi Island, Emily.
it's
You'd
I've
love
usually
never
it.
heard
maybe
of it.
It's
dudes
great.
dudes
It's
fooling
Portland.
around in the bushes. There's a lot of that.
So it's like Fire Island, but
Well, it's a big sandy beach on the
Yeah.
river,
in
and
Oregon.
yeah, in Port, just outside of it's Portland technically, but
Uh-huh.
it's big sandy beach on the river. Most of it is not nude, but then there's a line basically where beyond this line, clothing is optional.
Yeah.
I'm not a nude person,
Neither
but
am I.
I'm like, I
But I
would like
went
to
with some
be in that
nudists.
area.
Yeah, I've
It
hung out
feels
in that
nice.
area, not nude. It was fine. It was great.
Yeah. It's nice. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm getting better as I'm getting older. I know myself more. I know what makes me uncomfortable. And I've tried to be more zen, in life, of not letting things get to me as much. But it's like when we just moved into this new place in May. We're on the top floor now, and
Good.
I love
You're the
this
one making
new.
all the noise.
Get
Now
some
we're the ones.
drums.
But there was a house nearby where the guy had a rooster. So we moved in, and the first night I
Oh
was like,
boy.
oh, I was like, they got a rooster. And I was like, I don't even know if that's legal, which it isn't. Yeah, a couple of roosters. And so for a while, it was like all day. Anytime anything happens, the rooster freaks out. And
Right.
the, and the
Eekity. That's what they
the
say in
sound
Spanish.
no, it's more strained. It's like, "Ah!"
That's how I lost my voice.
You want
Yeah,
a
it's pretty
rooster
good
impression?
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, that would get to me for a while, but Yeah, I think I'm getting better. It's just, years and years, you deal with the same shit over and over, and then you sort of learn how to manage it. And I think definitely I've been with my partner for, about 8 years. I kind of wrote
So
the ending to
what's
the book.
their name?
I wrote the ending to the book before, like, we met. So she's not in the book, but we've been together for a chunk of time. Her name's Mary Kay, and I
Laterno?
feel like
Is it
I feel like
Laterno?
no, I feel like
Oh,
I've been much
good.
healthier mentally. There's a lot of years where I was alone in a little studio apartment, and I think you go kind of crazy when you're alone too long. And
I
a lot of this
have.
book was written when I was in that state. But
Right.
now that I feel like having a partner, it gives you a little check and balance of, like, you can bounce your ideas off of, you can talk to, it's just nice to have somebody to share experiences with.
Well, the next
And
book will be from a different perspective, maybe.
yeah, I mean, she's a cat lady, so there's a whole bunch of material there.
Oh boy. Well,
Yeah.
I did think it's interesting overall that the book and a lot of your problems with people is, smells, sounds, people eating bugs the shit out of you, but you are a waiter. So I don't know how you
Yeah.
deal with it. Why do you put yourself in the
Well,
situation?
being a waiter, the
Are
reason
you
I
trying to
started
get
doing it,
over it? Are you trying to work through it?
well, I started doing it in
Exposure
college because it's
therapy.
like the best way to make money without working 40 hours a week. Being a waiter,
Or a
instead of working an
bartender,
8 hour
yeah.
day, you're working like a 4 hour day, and so it leaves me time to make artwork. So I've done it for that long, but honestly, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, I should have never been a waiter because people drive me fucking crazy. And if anything, the only thing I regret is not putting maybe more waiter stories in the book, because I've got a lot of them. Now they're sort of filtering into my stand up
There's a
and a lot
whole
of
other
stand up
book.
material about waiting tables. But yeah, it's a tough job. I'm working on a stand up bit where I talk about how I think the most degrading moment in a waiter's life is when you have to bring the pepper mill over to the table and pepper the salads, because it's such like there's a real power dynamic in that.
Yeah, they tell you when
And
to
then
stop.
yeah, and then they like watch you the whole time. Like it's not like people keep talking. Once you come over with the pepper mill, they could be in the middle of a conversation, ah ha ha, and they all stop and like stare at the plate that you're peppering. And how it's like kind of in this weird way, sort of homoerotic, because it's like you're dangling this like long wooden phallic thing and
Yeah.
you're cranking it till it squirts out sprinkles of
I've
pepper.
dude, I have heard guys refer to the way that a particular girl gave a blowjob was the pepper mill because she would like use both of her
Oh,
hands. And God bless them for being so blessed that she could use
yeah.
both hands. But like, yeah, the pepper mill is a technique.
Yeah, I think they should just make it look like a human dick and you just jerk it off
I mean,
until
they
it shoots
do.
Just
pepper
like
out of the
start
They
dick hole.
do.
banging the
Yeah.
nuts and it just like squirts out the
Yeah. Or they could be
Jim,
detachable, little detachable salt and
salt and
pepper
pepper.
shakers. So it's like a twofer,
Put the
you
ranch,
get both.
Parmesan
put the
cheese.
ranch in the shaft.
Yeah, little sour cream.
Sour
At
cream.
a
Jim,
bachelorette party, that would sell. That
Yes.
would sell.
Hey, there's your $1 million idea. Let's go.
Yep.
Shark Tank.
I got a million dollar ideas. I just haven't gotten them all. I don't have the money to make them legitimate yet, but I'm constantly having ideas of shit.
I have an idea, Jim.
Yeah.
So there is this Japanese way of service called omotenashi, which is kind of like elevating, like the pepper mill. You could really embody an acting pepper mill, like you are a fucking butler. You're a fucking like you are a lord over this service thing, and you are performing and showing them like the correct way to open a bottle of wine and to do the pepper. And I don't know, I think there's something real funny and fun there if
Yeah.
you can get to that zone.
Well, I was thinking that I always thought it'd be really cool if there was a restaurant
The
where
Butler
everyone
Zone.
there was psychic. And so you don't even have menus or waiters or anything. You just walk in and you sit down and they just bring you what you want because they're
Okay,
psychic.
shut. Don't say another fucking word. We're doing it.
Well, this is what I have to say one more word, because obviously, if you have psychic powers, you're not going to waste them on a food service job. But I still think we could do the concept because most people are either indecisive or they don't know what they want until you, or they can be changed. Their minds can be changed. So you give somebody some delicious meal, chances are they're going to leave thinking that's exactly what I wanted. So you could still
Exactly.
do it. You could still do it even without the psychics. But you
I
just
think
pretend that they're psychics.
we all do have psychic powers. I mean, I think you could put it in any scenario. Like, let me guess what you want.
Sure.
I think that the first thing I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you a little bit of a shaved radish with a little bit of a pretty like a arugula. With splash a little olive oil and salt on it. Okay. Next, I'm bringing you a crab cake. Okay.
All right, you're speaking my language.
Okay. Then this is the part. I know what you want. You want a fucking Reuben sandwich. Okay, you want a Monte Cristo. You want a roast beef. You want a fucking what's that thing? Prime rib.
I like French dip. I like a French dip.
Okay. French dip is coming at you. Last, I'm giving you a small beer.
A small beer. I don't know about this meal. Listen, I gotta tell you.
Look, I know I fucked up after
the things don't go together. Some of the things don't go
radish
together.
was the first thing you said.
I think if you're doing the radish salad, I think the next thing should be like, I mean, the crab cake's good, and then maybe like a steak or like a rack of lamb.
I was on the meat.
Or something like that.
I think we should do the crab cake Monte Cristo.
Ooh,
has anyone ever done it?
Little crab cake in the French dip sandwich.
I would eat the shit out of all of that.
Awful. Let's do it.
All right, so let me guess you. Okay. I'm gonna say, just because you like Red Lobster, I'm gonna say the first course is buttery breadsticks or cheesy breadsticks of some kind, right? And then
I'm not going to fill up on carbs, Jim.
But I mean, it's a little bit. You're going to have a little bit.
Okay, have them there.
It's like the Olive Garden. What are you going to not eat the breadsticks? Like, you know?
True.
So something like that, maybe.
Okay.
And then I think are you a shrimp cocktail person or a coconut shrimp person? Either one?
Love the cocktail.
So just shrimp, right?
I did coconut shrimp one year for Christmas, and oh man, there's nothing better than coconut shrimp. But and then I would say you're like a straight up lobster tail or crab, like where you crack the legs with the butter.
Right? Boom! My favorite thing to eat.
All right, yeah, man, we're on the same page.
He's a pro.
Wow.
When I come there, when I visit, we'll go get some seafood. Some awful Santa Fe seafood.
Some of that desert seafood.
That desert catfish.
I like catfish.
And then Dingus, I'm gonna say Dingus is I don't want to say you're a simple man because you're complex. You're intelligent.
I had a girlfriend who was a waitress tell me that I did not have. Basically, said I had the shittiest palate ever. I don't have I don't have a refined palate.
Well, then I'm gonna say Kraft mac and cheese.
No, Annie's.
Annie's mac and cheese. Okay.
He's an organic.
Yeah, but I do up the Annie's mac and cheese with yogurt, nutritional yeast, some curry powder, like lots of black pepper. Get that pepper mill in there. You want my mac and cheese. One guy at a potluck once said it was a revelation. That's a quote.
Yogurt.
That's a quote. Oh yeah, put yogurt in your fucking mac and cheese. Plain yogurt.
That sounds disgusting.
But no, Fayette plain yogurt. Mix it in with your milk. Put some milk. Put some butter. Put some Fayette.
Oh, goat cheese. You know what I've been doing a lot? Because I host brunches sometimes on Sundays. And I wish I'd known this in college, because living in a house full of college dudes, I would have been the fucking king. Quiche. Really easy to make.
Yes.
Feeds a lot of people.
Traditional. I make a Christmas quiche every year.
Super easy. I didn't realize how easy it is.
What are you guys making in the quiche?
You know what a really good ingredient? I only do at least. Go ahead. What do you?
I was gonna say I do. The one I've been really going to is like I get like a bag of like frozen like diced potatoes.
You already lost.
Cook it up with some onions, and then that's one layer that goes in the quiche. And then there's like a bacon layer, There's a cheese layer, maybe a jalapeno or a green chili or something,
Spicy.
and then you pour the eggs on top, bake the fucker.
Where's the
and
spinach action? I
great.
want a little spinach action substituted
Spinach
with
is good.
spice.
Spinach is a good one. What I do is I always I got a special method. You always got to preheat the pie crust. Always Marie Callender's for me. Put a little nutritional yeast on the bottom there with some cheese on the very bottom. But always just saute up. Really, you got to thinly slice potato. Thinly sliced potatoes. Real
What
potatoes,
you boys are putting in the potato?
Fresh broccoli, mushrooms, sometimes greens, sometimes like a red bell pepper will be really nice. But you can't overdo it. It can't be chunky. I don't like a chunky quiche. It's got to be thinly sliced, 3-4 veggies tops. Put them on the bottom.
Egg. What egg up in there?
Well, egg mixture with egg.
Cream it up.
Egg with milk and thyme and paprika and pepper.
Yeah.
Put all your spice, some turmeric. Pour all that shit. Boom, boom. Top it off. Cheese, vegetables, cheese, whatever, and then just bake that shit.
Good.
Listen, guys,
I mean, that sounds great.
In college, I got a quiche from Albertsons, maybe Smith's. Got a big ass 12-incher. I ate it.
The whole thing. It's hard to stop eating quiche.
Oh wow.
Hard to stop.
I threw the whole thing up.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
You know what my college thing?
That
my
was
big
the
college
bulimic
meal I
years.
used to make was the minestrone meal. I used to make. It was like a can of minestrone soup. It was a packet of ramen noodles.
Oh, my dad would love this.
Tomato sauce, and I just put everything all the random shit in the cupboard, and I would make this big pot of this stuff at Calle Lorca. And
Lorca, baby.
Oh my god!
Please tell me you barfed it up.
2 bites and you'd be full because there's just too much stuff in it.
Barfing up noodles is the best. I have a whole concept for a cookbook. Don't steal it, anyone, because I don't have the rights to it.
People, please, we got men in Tunisia watching this show. You guys log the fuck off.
A cookbook called Desperation Diner.
Yeah.
That is all of our poor college or just poor in general.
Pizza.
Whatever's in the cupboard, you blend it together, and for some reason it's fucking delicious. But you pair things that you would never pair because it's all you got. Yeah. So when those recipes work, and we all know they've worked.
Oh, they work.
You write them down, and they go in Desperation Diner, and you're like, holy shit! This actually, I would have never. This is all I had. I put it together. It was fucking brilliant.
It's
a good idea, man.
Yeah. But
I'll give you one.
The hard part's coming up.
Give you one for free when you're ready.
These. Yeah, go ahead.
I used to do this thing. I get the Thai ramen noodles, and then you throw some peanut butter in it.
Fuck yes.
You throw some peanut butter, and you don't do all the
peanut butter.
You don't do all the. You drain the water. You still put the seasoning in, and then you put a little peanut butter, and it's like a little cilantro, and it's like a little Thai noodle thing.
You throw some sriracha on that?
Yeah, sriracha.
Boom.
That's I used to do that a lot.
Dude, I've had meals where I literally just had white rice and spices. That's all I had. And I would just cook up white rice and throw like 6 different things in it. It was the best shit I've ever had in my life. I mean, I was hungry, but
one egg.
And you both have kids, right? You both have kids?
Yeah.
So so you have to deal with feeding. Do you have picky eaters in your kids?
Yeah.
My daughter won't eat fucking anything except for she just learned how to make ramen herself.
She only eats Red Lobster. She was raised on Red Lobster.
She'll eat the buns. She'll whatever that shit is. She's a carbaholic. She's a carb and sugar and pickle person.
Pickle people are real. Pickle people are real.
That's
but
good.
It has to be exactly that, like hamburger pickle with the girl on it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is that
something
Vlasic?
made?
Oh, I can't remember.
It's a cute cartoon.
I just see St. Pauli girl at this point.
Oh, we talked about it. That I tried to trick her with putting other pickles in the jar. She ate it and was like, "This is great." And then my fucking son told her that I was tricking her, and she was like, "I don't like these pickles anymore."
Did you tell him to not be a fucking narc so much?
Yeah. And you know what? I told him. He wanted to know her Christmas presents. I said, absolutely not.
Yeah, because you
know what? You're a real piece of shit.
You're a narc.
You know, fuck off.
Yeah.
And you're written out in my will.
How
You're
this
not
how
getting
you,
any of the $50.
this
Did
is how
you
you this is how you
do you
introduce your
do
kids. My
Santa
beautiful
Claus?
daughter and my son, the Narc.
Do you do Santa Claus with your kids?
Oh, I used to, but not really. My grandpa played Santa Claus when I was a kid, so I never believed. And
Yeah.
they would be like, "It's Santa. There's Santa. That's not Grandpa." And I'd be like, "You all are real pieces of shit yourselves."
It's your go-to retort.
EOS. Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Hey, you
fucking
know what? Hey, it's gonna get away. Give me another one of these. You're all gonna be a piece of shit.
Well, I was wondering if there's a way that you could actually, like, as a parent today, like teach your kids about Santa, but also like let them know that it's not real, like from the get-go. Like Halloween, you're not really a demon or a witch or whatever. You're just pretending, so that they don't have that sort of betrayal of when you are like, actually, there's no Santa. And this is
That
all
kind of
bullshit.
is what ended up
well,
happening.
your kids are my kid's 5, and we're full in on the Santa thing, and it's so fucking cute and amazing
It's
and
sweet.
fun.
Yeah.
And he wrote a letter in our town. There's you can write a letter to Santa, and he writes back. So we got a letter from Santa in the mail, and we do all the things. But we also presents are from me to him. Presents are from his mom and grandma to him, and like we get each other gifts, but Santa gets gifts too. Because when I felt like when I was a kid, it was like all Santa. It's
Yeah.
like every
Oh.
gift was from Santa, every gift. And we're like, nah, like
Oh.
we got you gifts, but Santa also brought gifts
Ooh, this one's
Yeah.
from Santa. We don't know what it is.
because it wasn't there when you went to sleep. So everything that's new on Christmas, because we put presents under the tree for like weeks. Because my wife just starts wrapping shit and putting it under because grandma's sending stuff. And then Christmas morning, there's like twice as many as there were, and they're all
This
from
is
Santa.
a one kid daddy.
Yeah.
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 If you throw
Wow.
another little one in the
Yeah.
mix, you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, I'm sorry we missed Christmas.
Yeah.
I was asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, Christmas, we were the worst. Talking about middle school, we broke
Yeah.
in and found all of our gifts and like ruined everything and just
Yeah.
total little shits about everything. Like my mom was always just like so into it. And yeah, we were just ruined Christmas by finding
Yeah.
literally all of our gifts.
Well, I just remember my mom sort of spoiling the we I mean, not so much anymore, but we used to give her more shit about it every year, every visit. But when I was like, I don't know how old I was probably like 9, or I was maybe too old. But we went out for sushi, and I remember she had a little too much sake and sort of spilled the beans about there's no Easter bunny, there's no
Oh
Santa Claus,
no.
there's no tooth fairy. It was like the whole spiel in one night.
She knew it was coming, so she had
Wow, that
to
hurts.
sauce herself up to
It's
get it out.
yeah. No, I think it just came out. She's one of those. She's a fun drunk where a couple of glasses of wine and she's laughing and spilling
Right.
all the secrets. That's just how she is. But that's how I
But if
learned.
you fuckers are eating sushi, it's time you knew the truth.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't have sushi until I was like 28. So
Same.
you're blessed. I didn't.
Well, I had a lot of rich experiences with food growing up. It's one of the reasons I think I really love to cook now, and I've realized more recently that, like, there's like love language, and I think mine is food. My partner Mary Kay, she gets a lot of like, hey baby, I made some extra pancakes, or I made you a breakfast sandwich, or I made, whatever I'm making. I bake a lot, make ice cream and stuff, and so I realized I'm Italian. I'm part Italian, and that's like part of it is like it's always my mom always had like food. It's always like,
Eat.
hey, you need some
You can never eat
food.
enough. You can never eat
You can
enough.
never eat enough. It's like Ray Romano, his old thing of like, if you just want a little, say you don't want any. If you don't want any, you have to kill her because you're gonna get more.
It's true. Like
But
the older I get, and especially during the pandemic, like it coincided with turning 40, which I think we're all in the same place age wise. Like food for the first time became I understand comfort food now because it would create dopamine and serotonin
Mm,
in my gut and my mind. It became like a drug. that I'd never really experienced it that way before. And it's lovely, but you have to moderate it.
It's
It's
just
so
like with
tough.
everything. It's hard.
My dad used to say that everything with moderation, and the words they didn't mean shit to me when I was young, but now that I've gotten older, I found a place of moderation where, I probably only drink like maybe once or twice a week now. I'm trying to, which now I've been eating more sweets because of that, because I was drinking more before.
Yeah,
And so now I'm like eating
the
all these. So
sugar.
I'm trying to calm down on that, and then maybe I'll actually, get in shape. But like, not smoking too much weed, not drinking too much alcohol, not doing too much anything. I have like maybe I'm on my once a week diet plan, which doesn't work, but I formulated it based on the idea of like if you just eat the thing once a week, it's okay. So I have like one burger a week,
Yeah,
and
cheat
that's
day.
okay. But I also have pizza once a week, and then I also have tacos once a week, and then I also have, so it's like I'm like I can have everything if I only eat it once a week. So
Yeah.
every day is like pancakes and tacos and burgers and pizza. And
Same here.
Every
Same.
day, every
so
day there's a bad thing.
so
Every
really
day.
I need to pick one of the bad things and only have that once a week. Well, that's really tough,
No.
That is tough.
No,
right?
yes, I think you're doing great.
I'm trying, but you getting, I'm 44, so I've got to actually start thinking about like my heart and stuff and not eating bacon every day and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
absolutely.
But there was, I don't know when it was like my mid to late 30s where my body was just like, fuck you. And I just started gaining weight even though I wasn't doing anything different. And it's a weird
I
feeling
love
to
that.
watch
The
to
dad
watch
bod
yourself.
thing,
Yeah.
the
Oh
dad bod
yeah.
illustration in the book in the buffer zone, like I'm like, oh yeah, no. And you said that was like to me, that was the funniest like joke, like the just one liner thing was like, and I don't have any kids. I don't
Yeah.
even have any kids. I have this dad
Yeah.
bod. Like I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And I do have kids, but honestly, that did not necessarily play a role in my like adult bod like weight gain. That like all happened from I do have like pain in my neck, and I'm praying that over the next 6 months I am going to get a surgery. But
Mm.
like I spend a shitload of time in my bed and like eating, watching 90 Day Fiance,
Was that your show?
drinking, maybe smoking a little weed, maybe snorting a whole bunch of ketamine,
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
oh
you
yeah.
Here
know,
we go.
and it's just really taking its toll.
Oh wow, you're
Yeah.
really wearing yourself down there.
That's
I
why I
actually
bought this
thought
By
app
the
about
way, by the
because
way,
I'm like,
James,
I am 90 Day Fiance repping right now.
I
is that
I
what is that what that's from?
Yeah.
I love that illustration of because you talk about um the horror movies that scared you, and
Oh
then
yeah.
there's that one illustration of you laying in bed giving Chucky the finger,
Yeah.
but you got a glass of wine.
Yeah.
But you're like laying in bed with a glass of wine. I'm like, that's so Dr. Donut.
Yeah.
Two peas in a
It's
pod
true.
right there.
Yeah. I have a buddy, and we were talking about how funny it would be to open up like a male strip club called Dad Bods, where, it's just old men with little bellies, doing little dance moves, like trying to figure out my phone or,
I
mowing
would
the
go there.
lawn.
Yeah. Please
I
please
would
keep
bring
it
I
on.
don't have money. I would bring $50 and give it to you guys. I'd stick it in your armpits.
And every performance, somebody would like throw their back out and have to like sort of wobble off stage.
Yeah, like there's a handrail attached to the pole
Yeah.
going down the stage, so you can hold on and like walk yourself down without
Yeah,
falling.
exactly.
Someone could come out and they could be like, grab the mic and just be like, I'm very uncomfortable. I I don't know why I'm doing this.
Like a little midlife crisis
Yeah,
every night.
every night. I
Yeah.
would give them all the money.
Well,
I also think it's a great idea. I've had this idea for years, but I mean, I don't know if I'm the one to do it. But I had this idea for years about, because I hate strip clubs. I hate the vibe. I hate the black light.
same.
I hate the club atmosphere. So I was
It's
like, what if
weird.
there was a strip club that was just marijuana and it was more chill, curtains, maybe dim lights but not black lights, maybe more burlesque performances as opposed to like lap dances and stuff. I
That
don't
That's a
sounds
good
know.
like a
idea,
that sounds like a
especially
burlesque
for
show.
Portland.
Well, I don't know, but then like that's where they make the money is the lap dances. So I wouldn't want to take that away.
Like a
But
burlesque show to the next, but with stripper vibes,
yeah,
like
I don't
with
know how it
stripper
would work,
stuff.
but I just feel like if you're stoned, I don't know. I've never been sexually aggressive with anybody when I was stoned on marijuana, right? I mean, it's just not that kind of energy.
I
So I
don't think
feel
I've
like
ever
you
been
would,
sexual ever on weed.
yeah.
I can't even be
Some
social
people
on weed.
are.
Well,
Some
some
people
So I
people,
are.
feel,
yeah, some people live on it for it, can do function totally normal. When I smoke
Not
weed,
me.
I can't even like be around people, let alone.
oh really?
Oh yeah, that's why I don't smoke. I can't function socially at all. It's horrible.
Not
I
anymore,
I'm the worst.
literally, I
unfortunately.
got stoned this morning. I
I'm the
literally,
worst.
like maybe
I
I got
my
stoned and then I had a bunch of coffee and then I was like, I'm fucking ready for this podcast.
Yeah.
Ken, that just unlocked a memory. I remember
Jarred
you
something loose there.
saying, I remember you saying um at Cinema Cafe that you really liked having coffee and then a Valium, which I'm not sure if you actually were prescribed Valium
Oh
at that
That's
time.
a up and a down there.
I
no, we used to go to Mexico and get
love
them
that.
for like 90 of them for like $30. It was great.
I need to go back down there like for that for Xanax because you don't get Xanax anymore. You can't even get
No.
like I have like diagnosed mental illness, which includes some anxiety, and you can't even get lorazepam anymore.
Oh
I take
really?
the hydroxyzine, which actually does the job but does not give you any kind of a high. And hey, let's you need a little bit of a high.
You need a little
Yeah,
bit
let's
of
try
a.
it.
If
Why
I'm
don't
gonna take
you?
drugs, something's got to happen here. I just
Yeah.
don't want to be normal. I need a high.
We're not normal.
You know what I mean? I want to
Yeah.
feel good. Be
Deep
high,
Yeah,
just
breaths.
a little bit.
Just deep breaths. I do stretches. I do stretches every morning
these
now because
stretches
my
are good.
I've got like arthritis in my. Listen, now we know we're getting old
That's
because we're
some old
talking
people
about
shit.
pills, talking
Mm.
about diseases
And
and
not
stuff
It's
we can't
true.
eat.
recreational. We're talking about
But
medication that needs to work instead
yeah,
of medication that gets you high because it's doing the opposite of what it's supposed to do for the intended person.
yeah.
That's a good
But
point. Like,
benzos are tricky. There was a while I have insomnia sometimes, and the worst one was like I went 6 days without sleeping.
Ooh, that's
It
a
was
pretty
around
you
it
high.
lose
was
your
around
mind.
when my dad died, and his birthday was July 4th, and so he died in 2013, and then the next July 4th that happened, all the fireworks and stuff, it used to bother me, sounds, but it really started to bother me after he passed away, and I just couldn't that whole week of July 4th for like the next few years, every year I just couldn't sleep during that week,
Mm.
and I would get benzos, get them prescribed once, and then I think my mom gets these little tiny ones, and she gave me some of them, and they're great. But the thing of them,
Lorazepam.
the Razapam, but the thing is that if you take them too much, they stop working as well, and you got to take more. It's that whole
You
addiction
get
thing, and then
anxious. Yeah.
eventually, you just get like where you got to take them all the time. And so I'm glad that I got off of those, and they ended up giving me oh fuck, I don't remember the name of it, but it's like an
It
antidepressant
must be
that's
good.
also a sleep aid,
Mm.
and so then I would just take those, and it's not addictive. And I've actually, since I've been with my partner, it's been a lot better, my mental health, and so I don't have as many episodes of not being able to sleep now. But that
It
was
does
tough. There
help
was this,
so much. It helps so much. And you know something I never announced on our show, I did do it on the gram that I have recently become married.
Mm.
really
And
congratulations.
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah,
I'm not wearing my ring. It's not real. I didn't get a blood diamond.
It's not about the ring. It's about the
I've been
diaphragm.
it's it's about the what?
It's about the diaphragm.
Diaphragm.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
great late 80s reference.
Thanks.
Um no, but for real, like being lonely and COVID and all these things and getting older, gaining weight and all of our mentals that we go through and trying to do self-care, self-love, that is all valid and very important work to do. Um but the whole time I've been just longing for a partner, like longing for someone to like love and embrace me or help me out a little bit around the fucking
Yeah.
house. Like sometimes I can't do the dishes every day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes I can't, but I can't make coffee or it's very, very helpful and just practical. And I wish for every person who would like to have a partner to have some kind of a partner.
And
And if you're
does he pick
alone
up
and you're
does he
lonely,
pick up the slack?
it's coming. Hmm?
Does he pick up the slack with the coffee and the
Oh,
dishes and stuff?
yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. It's the
It's
long haired guy, right? In your
yeah.
yeah. He seems cool from the pictures anyway that you
He's
posted.
what I like about him is he's a former Boy Scout
Oh,
and
I thought you were
he's
gonna
a
say Marine.
teacher.
Hmm.
Huh?
I thought you were gonna say Marine. I'm like, here we go.
No, 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 no. But he's good-hearted. Like he's he's a Midwesterner. He's also 10 years younger, so he's also like not as jaded.
Oh,
But that can be problematic too
Oh,
because
he'll get there.
I can be
yeah.
sometimes like very curt and
Hmm.
shitty because I am jaded.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Dingus, are you the
yeah.
are you the are you the chore guy at your place, or are you the one who's sort of leaving your clothes everywhere?
No, I don't leave my clothes anywhere but the hamper.
That's
Uh, but no, I mean, I work a lot, so I do chores on my days off.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
when I'm not doing this on my day off, I like when I get done with this, I got to go like clear out the dishwasher, do some dishes. I got to put up a shelf. Julie's been like cleaning and doing shit all morning and whatever. In the summertime, I'm the lawn guy.
yeah,
I got to do all
yeah,
that on my day off, and yeah, projects, little projects here and there. But
it's
uh,
important work.
being a creative person, or like a creative, as people say, which I don't even really consider myself a creative, honestly, because it's not like coming out of me. But I feel like I got to carve time out for that. But it's been impossible for like, when was my son born? 5 years. It's been possible for 5 years. So
yeah,
it's
It's
like
impossible
I,
till they're like 10.
I need to work. I need to do the chores, and that's the
yeah,
priority. And then the creative stuff is like, this is all I can do is talk.
yeah,
And that's
Yeah.
taxing. That's a bit taxing. It's a bit stressful and depressing at times,
yeah.
where it's like,
I
fuck.
guess I'm the only one who doesn't have kids, so
Yeah.
I
Don't do it.
probably every day I have I make art. It's one of those things. I was thinking about it, how like with most jobs, well, all jobs I've had in the restaurant industry, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna make it through this day or this day, but and I can't wait for my days off. With art, I don't think I've ever felt the need to like, oh, I need a day off from drawing, or I need a day off
I'm not going to do that
for
today.
painting. Yeah, I need. Well, I mean, I will take days off just to like, because it's important to live life. Go for a hike, go out and do something, meet up with people. But in terms of like, I never have that feeling of like, oh, I gotta draw today.
Mm,
I love it. It's my favorite thing.
right.
Keep it
And
that way. Yeah.
and
It
I
doesn't
and I
feel like
never
work.
I never wanted kids. I never wanted kids because I just never I never felt like I was in a good place to have them. And there is in the back of my head, I always wondered. There's a couple of people I slept with in Santa Fe before I moved, where I was like, there could be somebody showing up on my doorstep who's like 20 years old or something, being like, "You're my dad." But I feel like it would have been to their benefit to get the child support from me at the time. So I feel
Mm,
like I probably don't have any kids out there,
you never
right?
know. You never
Because why
know.
wouldn't
But
you? Why wouldn't you want your some a little extra money to raise them if you're having a baby?
that's good logic. You don't have children. You
I
don't.
don't think I have any
You
kids
don't
out
have
there,
any.
but at
You
this
might be
point it'd be
safe.
fine because they're adults, so I could hang out with them
I
and
don't
it's
know
all
them
good.
money.
That's
Yeah,
true. Like the older my kids get, the better it is. People are always like, it goes so fast. It goes so fast. I'm like, good, thank God, because
yeah,
I can't microwave another fucking thing. Like, just please, just
yeah.
do so, just
I
live
was
your fucking life.
I was
I don't
tutoring
need to be part of it in terms of doing shit for you.
Elliot, Chris Grassi's
Yeah.
son and Rachel's son. I was tutoring
He's
him.
like
Did a
16,
I
17
know,
now.
And the last time I like saw him, I think was that weekend when I was out there when he was just a little baby in White Sands. And then I was tutoring him a little bit on through the webcam on Zoom, doing some art lessons a while back.
Good.
And
He's at the art
he's like
school now. Here.
he's like he's like a little man.
Yeah.
He's a man. He's
He's a
driving.
man. I know,
Yeah.
it's crazy. The time
Mhm.
just zips by like that.
That's
Well,
true. Now, when they say it, time flies, like I see that. I see that with Elliot. I remember him being an infant. I remember him being a little toddler. I remember him, you know, I've watched him grow, and yeah, now he's a young man, still a child, you know. That's the other thing. I remember being 16 or 17 and thinking, we're like 2 years away from the College of Santa Fe weird shit. Um, he's still a kid.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing to see.
so much life
Yeah,
happens from his age to 20, 23.
Yeah.
So much. That was the most shit. Life change, life craziness from, I mean, I graduated high school when I was 17. And then from 17 to when I eventually graduated college at 22, so much. Dude, so much life experience, so many things in those like 4 or 5 years that were, I mean, a life lived in 4 or 5 years, like beyond my imagination. And it's like the most thrilling time to be alive is like those years. It's like, yeah, you're 16, but by the time you're 22 or something, if you, depending on what you do, oh fuck, man, that's mind blowing. The shit that
Yeah.
happens at that age is just like, you're just out there getting it. Usually, most people, some people don't,
If we're lucky.
but
And then there's a whole
so
nother
much
shift
life
from
happens. So much life happens.
yeah, from like
You're
25 to 30 is
you're
a
a
whole other
fucking
chunk.
kid. You're a fucking
True.
kid to a college graduate in like, you know what I mean? In a few years,
Like
Yeah.
living on
even
your
if
own.
even if you don't go to college, you got to transition into adulthood, and so much shit happens at that age. It's just amazing that you just gotta fucking adapt and grow up and do all sorts. I mean, but you're doing so much. It's just like mind blowing. All the shit that happens mentally, physically, where you go, what you do. It's just insane. It's what a time.
Yeah, it's a big time. I mean, for me, I didn't really start to. I wish that we're talking about before about like traveling back within yourself, maintaining your consciousness. I think most of my decisions I wouldn't really change much except for I would start doing everything I did sooner. I didn't
Me
really figure
too.
out a
I
lot
felt like I was
until
a late
after
bloomer.
25.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like 28 when I finally like sort of got started like getting good
Me
ideas for
too,
art.
dude.
So
Same. Me and you are the same. I swear. Like, because I was a late bloomer physically. Like, we had a whole episode about how I didn't go through puberty until I was like in 11th, 10th or 11th grade or something.
Man.
oh really?
Oh yeah, dude. It was
Wow.
awkward. But I've always felt like I do what I want. I do what I do like years after I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's always been a problem where it's just like, I wanted to do this shit 3 fucking years ago, and imagine if I would have. Like,
That's
I'd
kind
be
of how I feel
ahead.
like.
I'd be ahead.
Yeah, like if I had released this book, if I had released Buffer Zone 10 years ago, um, I may have been able to, I don't know, I guess you can't really say, but maybe I would have been able to get picked up by a publisher. I shopped it around to every publisher I could think of that I wanted to publish it, and I didn't really I got a lot of feedback that was positive. People liked the art, they thought it was funny, but I think people just didn't know how to sell it, and so most publishers didn't respond, and I ended up just self-publishing it myself on Amazon. But I wonder if I'd released it like 10 years ago, if I would have been a little bit different now. There's just the way that the social media has opened up. It's great to give more people opportunity, but it's really flooded the sort of you know
Yeah.
the world with just so much content that it's hard to break through
Right.
and get exposure and
So
find an
if
audience.
you would have been ahead of the curve, you would have been in that time where it might have actually like been more like noticed more.
Maybe. I
Possibly.
mean,
Possibly.
I'm hoping it still gets noticed, and that people still buy it and want to read it, and word of
Sure.
mouth maybe gets around. But I, recently I've, on Instagram, like I barely ever get any responses or likes or anything on Instagram. And I was like, what the fuck? I was starting to think maybe I just don't have it. But then recently I decided to actually do the boost, the Instagram boost, where you pay a little bit of
Yeah.
money and all of a sudden, man, I got like 300 new followers.
Nice.
People are just, and I was like, no, it really is like I didn't have the passcode to get the access to the people. And the passcode, of course, is money.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
like now that I'm paying
True.
a little money to get through the algorithm
Yeah.
is like paying off. But like if you don't pay any money or you're not already famous, the
Right.
algorithm kind of like punishes you.
You're blocked.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
did that same with the other podcast, Lost Rhetoric. When I first started, I paid a couple bucks for some like ads or whatever the fuck they offered back then. And I noticed a little bit of a difference, but it's like, yeah, if you don't put yourself out there, you're kind of stuck to your own devices, and the only people you're reaching are your people, not new people.
Yeah.
So you gotta, it's the way it's set up. You gotta fucking pay to play. You gotta pay to get your shit out there, because it is so saturated. The only way you can puncture through is paying the people that can puncture you through. It's like,
Yeah.
that's the way it's
Or
set up. That's the way it's set up. But it does
or
seem to work in a way.
I in my experience, I feel like just living in Los Angeles and working with I did an internship with my sister-in-law at a movie poster like firm, and it literally is like who you know.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say there's a publisher that you really like or an artist you really like, spend a month. You don't even have to spend that much time, like devoting some time to wherever they are and whomever they're connected with. Then you'll get some traction. But yeah, it's all about a paywall or who you know. It doesn't matter how talented you are. Uh, it's just a weird like a weird business, and there are many gatekeepers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Well,
have to
it's
do
to
it
get
for this
noticed.
show, just
Just
to
to
get
get
noticed.
noticed is just
Yeah,
very,
just to
very
get noticed.
difficult.
Well,
You know,
you can do a lot of local shit. I mean, you could be like
Yes.
I that's how I always felt about any band I was ever in. Very local. Like,
yeah.
we broke through locally. People liked us locally. People would come see us locally. We would go on tour. Some shows would be awesome, felt like home. Most shows, no one knew, no one gave a shit. But
Yeah.
we felt so good at home. Like we had, like at home, we were so good. And then you try to spread out, and you're like, we're gonna take this and go. No one
Yeah.
gave a fuck. And it's like,
It's
how do you? Maybe we weren't good enough, but maybe we didn't sell it enough or the right way. Or it's like
You need like an
there's ways to
agent.
do it. You
You
need an agent.
yeah, and I
literally need
tried.
an agent.
Do you
I
have an
tried to
agent?
find an agent.
Do you need an agent?
I
Are you
besides
looking for an agent?
publishers,
Because we have a side
I
hustle.
emailed so many agents,
Look no further.
and yeah, and I didn't find anybody. But then I think the next step that I'm going to do is there's a few local bookstores that I might have connection with. Try and maybe do a book reading. I think
Nice.
there's
Yeah,
some comic festival coming up in the summer
do
that
it.
I'll try to
Yes.
get a table for and have some
Yes.
books at. And then in the meantime, I'm really I'm starting to focus on a whole new project that I'm working on, which is it's a prequel to Nightmare on Elm Street. Takes place in 1972, and it's all about Freddy Krueger, like almost like if David Fincher directed a psychological thriller. I'm kind of drawing it like that, very high contrast. And I put out 3 pages. That's what I was promoting with the Instagram boost. And holy shit, see, people actually seem to be pretty into it. I'm going to be mostly just, I don't think legally I can like just publish that.
Yeah, it's
So
not
I'm going to
public
be,
domain, right?
it's public domain, but I think
I
you
feel
Oh,
still
it
like
need
is?
you could
permission.
just change a few
I
words.
think it is public domain
I
because
thought it had to be
everybody knows
100
Freddy
years old.
Krueger.
I thought it had to be 100 years old for it to be,
Well,
because I just heard like Mickey Mouse is
Mickey
about to be
Mouse.
public domain.
yeah, I think that's a little different, but in this sense, I think as long as I'm not selling it or trying to print it and sell it, I think I'm legally okay to make fan art. And
Oh,
so I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
it's like
be
fan fiction.
yeah,
gotcha.
so I'm
Okay.
putting it on my Patreon, and I've gotten a few new followers just from posting about it. And so I'll
Well,
just be
just
posting pages as I complete them. I'll put them up on the Patreon, and I'm real excited because it's like, as much as I really liked working on Buffer Zone, and it's I started doing it because the easiest source material is yourself,
right.
and it's the easiest to point the finger at yourself when you're making humor, as opposed to pointing at others. And I try to balance that in the book. There is a little bit of like, well, look at that guy, but then there's also like, oh, look at me.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot
I
of
feel
that.
like, but this new one has nothing to do with me, and that's kind of exciting to go into something fictional that's not autobiographical, and I get
Hmm.
to play around with that whole world and make it really suspenseful. And and so I'm excited about working on that. So besides promoting this, I'll probably be working on that. I'm also revising this book I made called Raoul the Giant,
Oh, I have
about our
that.
friend
Yeah.
Raoul that passed away. I'm cleaning it up, and I'm going to try and put that on Amazon too, and sell it, and give, if I make some money, give half of it to his family, because I always
That's
wanted to do
wonderful.
that. But
I
it's
really,
going to take me a while to clean up that book. The images are just like when I scan them or whatever, they just don't. It looks a little rough around the edges, and so I'm cleaning all of that up and just making it sharper, and so it looks a little bit better. And then I might even translate it into Spanish, because it's.
I think that's a
But
great idea.
that book was like, yeah, I put a lot of all my feelings of grief and love and everything into that book, Roll the Giant, and it was very personal. But after all these years, I always thought maybe it was too personal to share with like a wider audience. But after all these years, I looked at it again and I was like, you know what? I think this is a pretty universal story I've created about grief and
Yeah.
loss, and how to cope with it, and how to accept, loving your friend and letting them go. And so I think it's applicable to anyone, and maybe kids could benefit from it.
I always felt that ever since I got it. It was just like Raul is Raul to us, but Raul can be anyone to anyone else that gets this book. Like he's a character to people who don't know him, and
Yeah.
he's just the guy in the book. He's a character in the book, and people who didn't know him can still relate to him as a
A
character.
lot
Yeah,
of
And
a
it's
lot of
I think
beautiful.
they
It's
would.
children,
beautiful. It's a beautiful book, and I think it's got keep keep doing what you're doing with that. Don't let that one go.
No,
a
no, and I
lot of
think that's a.
people have
Now
lost
that I've got this on
friends.
Amazon, I think that it's a good. It lets me know that it's a viable place to put my stuff where people can order it.
Sure.
And so yeah, Roll the Giant. I don't know. I'm shooting for, maybe his birthday was June 5th, and so maybe I'll shoot to try to have it out by then.
That'd be awesome.
Available to
What's
people.
your Patreon?
It is patreon.com/James Michael Williams,
James Michael Williams.
and then
And
my
you're on
website is.
Amazon, and
I'm
people
on
can find
Amazon.
you if they put in Buffer Zone.
So I was, when you were getting another drink, I was telling
Speaking of,
Dingus about this,
speaking of,
how it's
I'll
like
be right back.
hopefully we'll have a little
Get you
link.
one.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Get you
Hopefully
one.
we'll have a little link on the Spotify or wherever you
Oh
post
yeah.
this,
And the
that'll
gram.
take you to Amazon. But if you just wanted to go straight into your Amazon shopping app, you have to go to the books category,
Uh-huh.
and then you could type in Buffer Zone, or you could go subcategory comics and graphic novels, and then type in Buffer Zone. But it won't show up in your main like search when you're looking for curtains or shoes or whatever, because
Right.
it does have some nudity in it, and so Amazon classifies it as explicit content. And so you can't
Ooh, we
just.
love explicit content.
Yeah, so you
Do
can't
you
just
happen to
stumble
have
across it.
do you have a copy with you right now? Because that's why we did the visual.
I did. I
Let's
held it up
see.
earlier.
Here we go. Buffer Zone.
So this is the book. This is the back cover. And the one that you get on Amazon is a little different than this. These are ones I printed myself. The main difference being that this inside cover image,
Love it.
Amazon books, they don't print inside cover images. So this is actually the first page in the book.
I love
And this
that
is just,
drawing.
but yeah, it's kind of like you're going into my mind, is the way I wanted it. And then
Yeah.
at the end, you're sort of exiting out of my mind.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's trying to make it a little like that.
And we all have the same anatomy, right? So it's our minds as well.
I looked it up. I actually looked it up in a medical to try. I was like, all right, if I cut my head in half, what would it look like? And that's my interpretation of it. But it's there's always a little bit of research in most of my drawings.
Good. Brains are fascinating. If I were a little bit smarter, a little bit more ambitious, I would love to be a neurologist or neurosurgeon. But yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting. I was just saying the other night how I'm so happy that there's people out there who want to be doctors and surgeons because that's like the last thing I would want to do is have that much responsibility where
a lot of
if you cut,
responsibility.
if, you know, you're cutting, I don't know, operating on someone and you fuck up and then they're dead. Like, I don't think I can handle that.
Well,
And
That's why they're
in a
so
way,
special.
it's an art, right? Like
yeah,
they get in there and they know what they're interested and they also know the stakes and the reality and they're like science minded. It's really fascinating.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I could do the. I think I could have been a good lawyer if I gave a shit about the law. I don't think I could have been a doctor, even though I think I can study well. I just don't think that would have suited me to be around sick people and to have the responsibility of life and death. Uh, but a lawyer, I think I could have been a lawyer. I feel like I've always been pretty good at public speaking. Um, like I said, sometimes I do stand up. I'm trying to find a good consistent spot out here. It's tough because the best club out here is has a system where it's like you show up at 6, you sign up, you find out at like 7 or 7:30 if you're on the list. You might not be on the list, and then the show starts at 8 and goes. So it's like a whole
That's a
fucking
lot.
evening. It's a whole evening, and you might not even get on the list.
It's a lot of
And
work.
so I'm
But
trying
if
to
you
find a
put the
place where I
work
could just.
in, you'll
But I'm
get
trying to find a
yeah.
place where I could just get on without having to go through
A guaranteed
all of that.
spot. Yeah.
Come to
Yeah,
the
and it's
chili line in Santa Fe every Wednesday.
that's where it is.
It's so bad. It's so stupid, but it's a good place to rehearse or just,
Yeah. I started in Santa Fe at the Paramount. Remember they used to
oh
have the
wow.
Paramount and they had Bar B, the
Barbie was
little
great.
bar. So I did they used to have a stand-up night and that's when I started. I started going to that and there was this guy, fuck, I don't remember his name, but he was like hosting it and he wasn't really that great, but he
Hmm.
really took a liking to me and he would like be like, dude, you got it. You got it, man. You got to
You
keep
got the
doing comedy.
goods.
You had the
And
chops.
his claim to fame was that he had smoked weed with Pat Morita. And
Oh,
so
Mr.
he was like,
Miyagi.
man, he's like me and Mr. Miyagi. And I think he was waiting tables at the Olive Garden. And I just was like, dude, I just don't know if this guy is the person to learn from. His best joke that he had, which is not a good joke, was oh, I just read this book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Fucking Hell.
Oh,
That was his joke. And I was like, that was his most coherent joke.
I
And so I was
love
like,
it.
nah, I'm not going to let this guy, mentor me. But unfortunately, maybe if I had stuck with it there, I would have done it more. I sort of just do it sporadically every once in a while, just for fun. And so I'm not really like in the scene, and it's hard to sort of wedge my way in just for
Sure.
like to just to say my bullshit every once in a while because there are so many young comedians who are really trying to like make it
Yeah.
and I just want to do it just for fun. I don't expect to make it, but it's hard to just get stage time.
it's just like that movie
So
Punchline, with Sally Field, who's
yeah,
the
from
housewife.
40
Uh,
years ago.
Yeah, I don't know if she's a housewife, but she's a wife and a mother. But she
Just a
starts get.
regular
Yeah.
lady.
You never seen Punchline?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
dude.
you should.
Oh,
Tom Hanks,
Tom
one of
Hanks.
Tom
I'll
Hanks's
love
best
both
movies.
of them.
Yeah, and
Okay.
she's
And then
she's
yeah,
the Jimmy James of the story here. She's just doing
she's
it for
the
fun, but she's
she's
really
the love
good.
interest.
Yeah, she's really good, but she's just doing it for fun, and
I'm
hilarity
watching
and
it
drama
tonight.
ensues.
Yeah,
90
John
Day
Goodman.
Fiance can just take a little break. I'm watching Sally Field, not
Punchline.
in Steel Magnolias for
Punch
work.
You should watch
Punchline.
Punchline.
It's
It's
good.
good. John Goodman's in it. He plays her like husband who's like, "What do you need to do comedy for? You can just be my wife." And then Tom Hanks is like he's sort of it's the one movie where he's
He's
like,
the up and
what the
comer.
he just says fuck a lot in that movie. I remember like
He's the
watching
hot
it.
guy. He's the
He's
hot
a
I was like,
comic.
he's like a
whoa.
bad guy. He's like naughty.
No, he's the
He's
hot
sort of
up
like
and coming
unstable.
comic.
Yeah, he's
Cool.
unstable.
But he's the cool
Cool,
hot.
unstable.
He's the guy. He's the guy.
Like he has AIDS in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's that guy.
This is like a
Love
prequel to that.
it.
Yeah,
So
he was
does
becoming
this,
that guy.
and then he becomes a lawyer and gets AIDS.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he gets in a bad accident and becomes Forrest Gump.
And then he
Yeah,
has like
well,
some
He doesn't
fucking
remember it. He doesn't remember
volleyball.
any of it. He goes to
And
war.
Sally
Right.
Fields is
His
his
PTSD.
mother in Forrest Gump.
Holy
That's
shit!
right.
Holy shit! I never
Yeah.
made that connection.
Yeah, so she's his love interest in Punchline, and then like
Then his
5
mom.
years later,
Wow.
it's his mom.
The power.
Wow.
Just that
6
Hollywood
degrees
magic.
of Kevin Bacon right
Movie,
there.
movie
Oh,
magic
see,
right
talk
there.
about College of Santa Fe. We used to do that game because I worked in a video store in high school, and so I was the fucking king of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
I worked at
And I
Hastings while in
used to
college
do that all the
in the
time.
video department. That was my
Yeah.
video store experience, was in Santa Fe. So I got a little taste of what you're talking about. And I went to film
Do you
school.
want? Do you want to give me one?
What?
Throw out a name.
Throw out a
See
name?
See if I can connect it. Kevin Bacon.
Crispin Glover.
Oh, that should be very, very easy. Oh my God! If I fuck this up, that's really bad.
I don't even know the answer.
Crispin Glover. Oh my God! There's so many different avenues to go in because he was in what is it? River's Edge was Keanu Reeves. Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox. Oh, I got it. Crispin Glover in Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox, who's in Bright Lights, Big City with Kiefer Sutherland,
What a reference.
who's in Flatliners with Kevin Bacon, and he's
There you
also in A
go.
Few Good Men with Kevin Bacon.
Damn, you nailed it.
So that's like 2. I got it in like 2 or 3.
Fuck, I wouldn't have got
Pretty
that. I wouldn't have got that. Good job.
I know.
Hi guys,
I wish I could
see my
remember stuff
Kevin
that's
Bacon
important.
impression? Here's my Kevin
Sure.
Bacon impression. Hi, I'm Kevin Bacon. I'm Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bacon.
He is.
I'm Kevin Bacon.
He's kind of like a skeleton with hair.
There was a big thing. Well, not a big thing, but playing music in the Northwest. His son was in a band that he went to college at Evergreen, I think, in Olympia. And he was in a band that was in the same scene as my bands, and my friends would play shows with Kevin Bacon's son. And I think we played the house that he lived at, but he wasn't there. There's all this, like, this is Kevin Bacon's son's house, and his band lives here, but they're like on tour right now, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I have this whole thing about Kevin Bacon's son for an era.
Devin Bacon. His name's
Wow.
Devin Bacon.
Did you ever see him
I'm
play?
Devin Bacon.
He used to come to Santa Fe. The Bacon brothers used to come to Santa Fe quite often, and they used
I
to
do
close
remember
with
that.
Footloose. They closed with
Oh,
Footloose.
Man, I love Footloose. I got it picture disc vinyl. I love that movie. I got the song Footloose. Come on, it's great. Kenny Loggins, get out of here. But the Bacon brothers should maybe hook up with Steve Martin in his bluegrass outfit.
They could.
And like Russell Crowe and his thing, and Keanu Reeves and Dog Star, and like
30 Seconds to Mars.
30
They all
Seconds to
form
Mars,
like
who are like
We Are the
huge.
World kind of.
Yeah, well,
thing?
no, just go on tour.
Oh, just all of them together.
Just a Hollywood Warp Tour of people who would gladly give up their Hollywood career to play the music they want to play, but people don't respect them enough as musicians.
We watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because it was Thanksgiving, and I forgot Kevin Bacon's in that. Was Steve? In the opening scene, him and Steve Martin are racing for the same cab, and then John Candy gets it. I don't know if you've seen that. If you haven't seen that movie in a while, you should watch it again because it's really great.
You know what's funny is I listen to Justin Long's podcast sometimes called Life is Short.
Too.
And he has that question at the end, like, what movie are you embarrassed to admit you've never seen? And for me, I'm pretty sure it's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I've never seen the whole movie. I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen the whole thing. And it's got this renaissance where I feel like a lot of people today are referencing that movie as like one of the best. It's like this movie is
pretty funny.
Unfuckwithable. Like,
it's one of the few John. It's one of the few John Hughes movies that's not a high school movie. It's not about high school
John
kids.
Hughes
it's about
is great. Yeah.
Grown people. John Candy is the best. You know what movie for me? It's Lawrence of Arabia. I've just
Which
never
one?
seen it.
The OG?
Oh, is there more than one?
I thought there was a remake.
I don't know, but I never saw the original.
Or maybe I'm thinking Entourage. Maybe
It's
that
like
show
4 hours
Entourage.
long.
They were.
It's a long one, I think.
Yeah, that's who. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've never seen either. My old man would watch
It's
that
Peter
shit.
O'Toole is in it,
Yeah.
but
I've
I've
never
never
seen
actually
The
watched it.
Godfather.
What?
Like I don't have a desire
Did you
to.
see Barbie?
As
Did
a
you see the
man
movie
who's part
Barbie?
Italian, that's
Yeah.
offensive.
Where they're all explaining The Godfather.
That was good. That is like a male like thing.
I have
Yeah.
not
Like,
seen
okay.
I have not seen Barbie yet, but when you guys mentioned Barbie in Santa Fe, I mentally made that connection. Holy shit, Barbie is a Barbie.
Yes.
Great movie.
Whoa, dude, you just opened my mind.
I never thought. I just always thought it was like Barbie, like second choice, like Barbie second option.
Yeah.
You need
But-
to reopen
but then it's just
Paramount
Barbie. It's just-
Barbie.
It's a play
We
on
would be
Barbie.
rich.
I seriously
I
didn't even
think
think about that.
I think that's what they meant, was like that it's like the second of the bars.
B-side.
But it's also Barbie.
B-side.
Cool.
Barbie.
But I played there. I played there with my band that I had back in the early 2000s called Jimmy Two Pants and the Freeballers.
Oh
And
yeah.
and we played a show there. I think we played at the Paramount too. And it went well. That was back when I could write songs even though I didn't really know how to play music that well. But all my friends were like these amazing musicians, and so they were all in the band and they just made it better.
Isn't that
And
nice?
We're living the same
it was
life,
fun.
brother. I'm telling you. Every band I've
Yeah.
ever been in, I'm the worst one.
But you're still like a real musician. I never really had any training.
No,
I just sort
neither
of
have I.
Raul taught me some chords, and I
Yeah.
just started writing
I
songs.
taught myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know shit. I don't know shit about shit. I just play.
He doesn't know shit about dick.
I don't know shit about
There's no
dick.
shit about dick.
I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I'm the worst. Just write songs.
Awful. He's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I just, if I'm writing music, I haven't done an animated thing in a while because the last couple I did, each one takes forever. And I was like, I can't do another animated thing until I have like a team to help me, so I can afford to hire some people because it's just too much time of my life. But back when I was doing more animation, that's what I was really writing music for. I got really into that.
Scoring your own
Years
stuff.
ago. Yeah, years ago I was a guy with a guitar who sang songs, but then I got away from that and got more into just composing music for animated stuff, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So you want to do more animation and music for
I
your
do.
animation.
I just need to get
sounds fulfilling.
some. Yeah, if I was thinking, what I'd really like to do is come up with a sort of like a good book reading presentation of this book with maybe I show some images, have a little voiceover, a little music, but also I would not be opposed to the idea of an animated feature of Buffer Zone. I feel like that would be really cool if it was animated.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
a lot
like
of
a
those
full
scenes.
length.
Yeah, a lot of those scenes, especially. I mean, the whole bus chapter. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a fucking scene right there. That could all be greatly animated and be fun. You know?
I think it'd be really cool. So if I do another big animated project, it would maybe be that, or maybe I come up with something else. But I don't know. I always have tons of ideas of stuff I want to do, things I want to make, and I think the big difference between me in college and me now, well, there's a lot of differences. But back then, I was always talking about ideas. I was always just talking, oh, I got this idea, I got that idea. What if this? What if that? Now I actually do them. When I come up with an idea, it might take me months or years. But when I think of something and I really want to do it and I set my mind to it, I do it now. And I don't know. It's one of, not that I'm trying to say yay me, but I think you should feel good about yourself in certain ways. And that's one of the things that I do feel good about myself, is that I have the follow through, I developed a work ethic that allows me to have the determination to follow through on projects.
Right.
And
Well,
I
you-
also
it
don't have
takes-
kids.
Right.
If I had kids, it would
courage.
probably be a lot tougher.
It
But
does
it's true.
zap your creative juices, but it takes a lot of courage to just start something, and then once you do it, it becomes easy, right? A little bit easier.
Well, I don't know about easy, but it's like, it just feels good.
Yeah.
When it starts to come together. There were years where I was working on Buffer Zone where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Is anybody even going to understand any of this? Is this just me ranting? And raving. But then when it started to come together, and the first time I actually like got it printed, it can hold it like as a book, and it was the way that I imagined it to be. It was kind of emotional for me to just see the thing that I had thought of for so many years finally in physical form. It's amazing. And I was like, you know what? No matter what happens, even if nobody buys any copies,
You did it.
I can at least say I did it. I made a
Yeah.
book. It's out there.
Concretized. You made
You
it a
can get it.
concrete
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
being.
it can't
Yeah.
be taken away. It exists. It's out there,
Exactly.
and so I feel good about that. And for a long time, I was like, I don't know what happens after I finish this book. I don't know what is going to happen. I mean, my partner for the first, I don't know, 5 years we're together was just me working on the book. That's all she knew was
Mm-hmm.
me working on this book. And now that I've finished it, I'm moving on to a life after it. It feels really good. I didn't know what I was going to do, but the ideas, they don't stop coming. And so when I finished with this, I was pretty much right away like, all right, what am I working on next?
Mm-hmm.
And I have all these digital paintings that I've been creating on my iPad for the past couple of years, which is amazing because it's like, getting an iPad, it's when you're working on something, it's like working on a painting with like a magnifying glass. You can really zoom in and get in there
Mhm.
and get the details in. And so I've been able to come up with a style that's sort of like hyper realistic, and I'm really excited about it. And I've got about maybe 10 pieces that I want to do an art show here somewhere, a gallery
Nice.
show.
Hell yeah.
And so I'm trying to put that together. So, me, I always got a lot of pans in the fire.
I can try to
Yeah.
hook you up with the Afro gallery if it's still going. My buddy Jonas runs that.
Yeah. I don't know
Uh,
where to start. I really don't know where to start. I was like, which gallery should I even reach out to? And like, I'm just assuming that people are going to be like, oh, this guy's art's great. Let's give him a show. But that might not even be the case. People might not want to give me a show.
right.
And maybe I'll have to rent a space on my own. I don't know. But
Hey, you can make it happen.
I feel like the work is good enough that it deserves some sort
Sure.
of spotlight.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can make it happen.
You're on Dr. Donut and the Dingus. Like,
Yeah,
what
you've already made it.
better
Yeah,
PR
I've
could you
made it.
possibly
This,
have?
this is it. But I mean,
We
I
got
might
Tunisia in his house. United
actually use
Arab Emirates.
the Mochi Pog. I'm debating whether, because it's just sort of a portrait of Mochi
That
Pog,
was
but I'm
so
debating putting that in
good.
the art show because I was like, that's a nice little portrait.
It's in my It's right by my front door.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I really enjoyed working on
Jim
that one.
helped when Mochi got hit by a car and needed a $6,000 surgery. Jimmy came out with a Mochi Pug portrait that was just like perfect. And that's the coolest thing is the adding the digital aspect to your already great pen and ink drawings. That's really bringing it into the now.
Mm.
One thing that I really I don't know if I haven't listened to all the episodes because I'm sort of going back through. I got behind on my podcast, so I don't know if you've already mentioned it, but I'd like to mention just for people who are fans of your podcast that I did the artwork for your cover.
I was going to mention that. Yeah,
we didn't say
promotion.
that.
I was going to mention that at the top, but I forgot.
Oh, okay.
We'll mention it in the posts.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But I'm real proud of that. That took me a little bit, but I was really proud of how that came out because
I feel like my hair
I captured them.
My hair's like right in the zone where you drew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's much shorter now, but I had the braids at the time, and I love our logo, our drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a really excellent job.
I wish I had your hair, Dingus. I'm going bald. I'm getting the little island slowly. And last night I actually had a nightmare last night. I had this nightmare last night that I was trimming my beard, getting ready for this podcast, and I fucked up and went too far. And then I ended up with just this big, bushy mustache. And I was like, no, I don't look good like this. But
I would be into that. I would be like, wow, look at his mustache.
Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't because
it doesn't work.
Concentrate this whole time.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
No, I look like a sex offender when I have just a mustache.
That's what's cool about it.
I think that's what most people with mustaches are going for nowadays.
Yeah.
I think you would look good, Dingus. I think you'd look like
I've been told that.
like a Chicago, like a
see that.
70s Chicago cop or something.
I've been told that, and
You can't fucking park here.
You know what? My facial hair grows so slowly, and I got no face. I can't grow sideburns. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Only thing I can possibly grow is a mustache. And when my wife was pregnant, I went like almost 2 months without shaving my mustache. Still didn't grow. It did not grow in. It was like getting thick, and we were going to like classes at the hospital, and I had this like really shitty dirt stash.
Oh, nice.
And then I started some show, some movie or something that I was working on, and I was working with a bunch of people I didn't really know, and I was just like, I'm gonna shave my shitty thing that hasn't grown in 2 months, and I shaved it off, but that's the closest I came to actually growing it out, and it was looking good, but dude, it took, most people can grow, how long does it take you to grow a fucking mustache? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't. This is maybe
we're talking months for me. Months.
This is like 1 month. This is like 1 month of.
But it's full. It's thick. It's nice. You know.
It happens.
I don't got
that way for me.
Fuck it. It took me too long. I mean, I think it would be like a 3-month operation to grow a fucking, maybe 4.
Yeah.
Grow an actual mustache. I can do it. It is just painfully slow. It's like awkwardly slow.
Yeah. It's, it's weird because like I'm so used to having face or hair on my the chin, and then when you get rid of it, and then like you realize my chin is like 2 inches below the beard, and you're like, you don't have that old college neckline, jawline anymore.
Yeah, that is a nice benefit for you fellas. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could grow one. I mean, you could put on a fake one. You could draw one on.
I do have to work on little mustache hairs every once in a while. Sometimes a little weird whisker right here.
Oh yeah, the one that
I get a weird neck hair, right? I get a weird neck hair right here, and I get another one like right on my collarbone.
It's like they're friends. It's like they're like worms. They're like, hi, I'm gross.
Do you get them in your? You don't get them in your ear, though, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, see, that's a guy thing that I get is it grows out of the.
I don't get the ear hair. Not yet.
Well, you check. You don't
nose
know.
hair, ear
you
hair.
You should check.
Nah.
Get Julie in there with the flashlight.
I'm not a hairy guy. I got one chest hair. I got no facial hair.
It's named Manny Mo.
Yeah, Manny. Yep, right in the center, right in the center of my chest. He grows to about an inch and a half, and I stroke him, and sometimes he gets plucked, and it takes a while to grow back.
It's because he's got a big heart.
Yeah,
small dick.
The little
tiny. Hey, how tall are you?
Say?
Me?
What do you like? Yeah.
Taller than God, I always say.
You're like 6 something, right?
Almost. I'm so close to 6'5". I've been starting to say 6'5", but I'm like a little under 6'5". Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking about it recently. How like I think every phase of my life, I've always had a tall friend, like someone who is a much taller and bigger than me. Yeah. And they've almost always been a very gentle giant. Like they're never aggressive. I mean, I'm sure there's tall people out there that suck. Sure. But most of the tall people I've known are very peaceful, gentle people who don't start shit.
It's because of the micro penis. Like they.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Keeps you humble.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't want to get exposed. It's
like a big clit.
Yeah. You start a fight. Next thing you know, you get knocked out. They pull your pants down. Life's over.
Yeah,
life's over.
See, I talked to a friend.
They'll scrape it on the concrete. That's the worst.
No, now with now in the days of the internet, I mean, shit, it'd be broadcast.
DIY concrete scrape.
Awful.
Well, I just remember talking to a friend who was tall, and he was saying that because I was like, I can't remember how I phrased it, but it was surprising to me. He was saying that actually it's like he gets challenged to fights a lot by small dudes. Like it's the small dudes that have a chip on their shoulder.
Dudes, big dick.
And they got to start fights with tall people.
Yeah. I've gotten that vibe from a few small dudes before, absolutely, where it's just like, but you know me, I was just like, just leave me alone, dude. Like I don't care. But
you're a peaceful man.
I can tell that this person's like directing something at me for no reason. It's like, I know what you're doing, and it's pathetic, so just leave me alone. go fight someone else or whatever. I'm not a
I'm
fighter.
very happy. I haven't been in a lot of fights. I mentioned the one in the book in third grade.
Yeah.
But other than that, as an adult, there's a lot. I should have been beaten up a lot more than I have been, and so
Maybe. Me
I'm
too.
grateful.
Me too. Yeah. No, it's yeah. That is a part of being a drunk young idiot, like me and you definitely have been. Should have probably got our ass beat way more.
Yeah,
There's
But
but
still time, guys. There's
I
still time.
know
there's still
I'm
Listen,
time.
I
working on it.
gotta go. I'm starving. I'm eating
Oh
my
yeah, yeah.
bed pretzels right now.
Well,
Well, it's been a good.
this is going
This
to
is a
be a
good 2.5 hour.
this is going to be a two-parter, so don't even worry about
Okay.
time.
That's
All right.
fine.
Cool.
I'm still going to go eat something. I wish I had a crab cake right now.
Ooh, that
I
sounds
did
good.
I did want to ask one serious question before we
Sure.
go, if it's all right,
Okay.
because I'm curious with the buffer zone and your idiosyncrasies and the things that you create to distance yourself from the situations that you're in and the people that are annoying the shit out of you. How much of that comes from your parents?
Ooh, I think I'm realizing as I get older that a lot of it, I think,
Yeah.
comes from them. I mean, yeah, it was our family. It's hard to explain, but like, I mentioned it in the book kind of just briefly towards the end. I was really, with this book, I was really sort of balancing the humor with the seriousness. And in the end, the humor won more than seriousness. But I do have a little moments in the book that sort of reveal things. And one of them is I talk about how, my parents would argue a lot when I was a kid. And I was kind of became like the moderator of like
Mm-hmm.
keeping the peace between them, making them laugh. I think that's how I started to become like class clown guy, as I realized the power of laughter. You can turn an argument into smiles and laughter if you have the right joke or you say the right thing. And so the dynamic in the house was, my dad was, he got really chilled out as he got older and a lot more calm and cool to hang out with. But when I was young, he was a grumpy dude. I mean, we did a lot of stuff together, and I feel like I had a good childhood. But on day to day basis, he could get pretty grumpy sometimes, and so I don't know. I think I realized that like my vision of what a relationship should be is a lot of like, and I'm trying to fight this in my relationships, is a little bit of bickering, a little bit of like snapping at each other, and just this sort of sense of like being put out by like having to interact with your family and stuff like that. I remember just like stuff like that where sometimes it'd be kind of tense. And my dad was a quiet guy. It wasn't like when he got mad, he wasn't like, sometimes he would yell, but a lot of times you get real quiet. You sort of have to read him. And I was thinking about recently how like sometimes you'd be in the car going to some place and he'd be driving, my mom would be next to him, and she's the kind of person, she's a very outgoing person, and so she'd ask him a question, and then before he could answer it, she'd ask him like six more questions, and I'd always be in the back, just like I could see him bubbling over like a tea kettle, where eventually he's going to be like, God damn it, can we just have some peace and quiet for a minute? And I could always like sense it was coming, and then when it happened, I would be mad at her for not being able to read him. And I think
Oh
about that
no.
now, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's
Right.
crazy that I would be mad at her when he's the one who's snapping. But I think that's sort of like
No, I
sometimes
don't think so.
you get put into that dynamic of like just being like, come on, we know what to do. Let's just keep dad, calm and happy. And it was like that for a while growing up. I think once we got older and my brother was out of the house and I was a teenager, and he started to chill out a little bit, and then he really started to chill out one Christmas. He was always talking about the 60s and how he went to Woodstock, all that stuff. And when we'd go out, I go out with my friends, he'd be like, bring me back the roaches. It's sort of like as a joke. So then one year I'm like 17 and I'm like, fuck it, it's Christmas. So I get him a joint and I put a red ribbon around it and I put it in like a big box so he doesn't know what it is. And I figured he'd open it up and laugh, and he did. But then he was like, "Hey, let's spark it," and we sparked it. And my mom came around with like cookies. She was like, "You guys want cookies?" And we're like, "Yes." And like, and
She
like
knows.
from that moment on, he really our relationship got more relaxed because it was like, all right, we know we can chill out together. He got more relaxed because he started actually getting weed from I think eventually from wherever he was working. He knew somebody, and he would just take like one little hit at night, and I think it really chill him out. And then when I come home for visits, it would be like, you bring in some stuff. I'd be like, yeah, I'll bring some stuff. And so I bring weed home for, and as he got older, their relationship got stronger. They got closer, more loving. I just feel like it all got better later on, but when we were younger, it was just tense sometimes.
That's the
And
stress of having little kids. It's hard to
yeah,
see as a little kid.
and
you
with my
could have
brother,
you should have been doing the drugs earlier.
yeah,
Probably
Let's
was.
get
and
real.
my brother's the older one, so he got the worst of it. And when it got to me, they were like, all right, well, whatever. We already tried being firm with my older brother, tried being firm, trying to, take everything very personal when he became a teenager. That I think with me, they realized that wasn't the way to go. And so I remember my brother coming home to visit after I started getting my dad back into weed. And like he got in so much shit for smoking weed when he was in high school, and they tore his room apart
Oh man, you
searching
could be
for.
so pissed when you
And then
realize this
he
old
came
man
home for
smoked weed.
visit, and we're smoking together, and he's like, "What the fuck is?"
Oh my
He
god.
paved the way. He was the
Yeah.
pioneer.
Yeah, he was the pioneer. He set the stage.
But
So
in the book, you think, I mean, your some of your characteristics of, I mean, perhaps being so grumpy and other characteristics come, I mean, you can directly link that to, like, that's in my blood, and I realize that now.
I think so. I think definitely the fact that I very much still pursue my dream of being an artist as
But
as opposed
the
to
art
like.
as well, where does that come from?
Well, I mean, my dad's very creative. I mean, my
Okay.
mom, she's creative too, but my dad was like one of those guys. I think I get this from him, where like anything creative you throw at him, he can do. And he got real into pottery in the '70s,
Okay.
and so that was his thing. He had long hair, and and just was making pottery all the time. But he can draw, he could do woodworking, he could
Dude likes
do
pot.
all kinds of stuff that I think I inherited from him. But I think a big thing I inherited was like a lot of his grumpiness. I think was the fact that like he wanted to be creative, but he was raising he had a family, so he had to be a salesman to sort of make the money. And I think that made him grumpy, that he wasn't really able to like follow his dream in
Mm-hmm.
that way. And so I think that's rubbed off on me in the sense that I haven't given up yet. I haven't just gotten some job to pay the bills and live life. I mean, I was waiting tables, but I've minimized that as much as I can so that I have more time to make art. And so I think that's carried through with me, of like, follow your dreams, keep going. Don't be one of these people who's sort of just upset that they didn't get to do their dream. Uh, go for it is sort of how I see it. And I think maybe I got that from him, a
Do
little bit
it.
of that just from seeing it.
Do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And wherever it takes you, it takes you,
Yeah.
you know?
I got a child in here.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
What do you call that, honey? What's on your shirt?
It's not Mochi, but I have
Humorist.
I have a
Whoa.
rule. Once Mochi makes an appearance, we gotta go. Oh, look at that.
Mimi's
it's a-
basically mochi.
It's like
Is
a
that a-
three-headed fox.
Yeah, I was gonna say a three-headed fox.
Three-headed
Nice.
Shiba Uno.
Shiba Uno.
I'm
Oh,
wearing
okay.
I'm wearing my
Wait,
fox.
go ahead,
my-
do your dance, honey. Come
Yeah,
on,
let's
get
see the
back over
dance.
here. Come on, do your dance. Go. Gangnam style. Come on, Gangnam style. That's what it's all about, guys.
Yep. That's what it's all about.
Don't have
I
kids.
slept.
Well, I want to say I do really appreciate you you all.
I slipped.
Nice. I was gonna say I really appreciate you all taking the time to read the book and come up with good questions about it. I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
that.
Dude, there's so much more. There's so many more like stories that, like the naked lady with the pen, that's me. College, or didn't have a girlfriend until 12th grade, that's me. Except I didn't get my first real or high school girlfriend until the last 2 weeks of my junior year. The crazy blanket guy in Portland, I know who that guy is. I had encounters
Is
with
he
that.
still around?
I
He's
don't
not
know.
still
I don't
around.
know. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I've definitely worked downtown. Whatever. He's around. But there's one thing. I sent you that picture of the drawing.
Yeah. What was that about?
Okay. So I'll maybe post a picture of the original art piece and then me and my son's art piece. But the picture in buffer zone of you in front of the wave with the wave about to crash down on you, the big wave.
Yeah.
My son's so into waves, tsunamis, Dropner waves, Rosby waves. Like I'm learning all sorts of shit about the ocean. He's so into the earth and volcanoes and waves and the tsunamis and the way the world works. Nice. So I showed him the illustration of you that you have of you standing in front of the big like fucking tsunami wave basically. And he absolutely loves it and he wants us to print it out. He wants a print of it and then we're like, we don't have the colored ink to print it out right now, and he like really wants a print of it. And then he's like, Dad, you draw it. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'll draw it. So I started drawing it. And then I didn't realize what the ink that I was using to draw the wave is like this magic ink pen that he has for these special books that he has. So when I took the picture, all of that ink is like fading away. And you can't really tell, but it was like bright. It was like bright blue when I drew it. But anyway, that was us drawing your drawing because my son loves it so much.
That's awesome, man.
He wants
the coolest thing.
Yeah,
that's the best review I could get.
Yeah, and he wants a print of it so bad. He's like, "Can you please?"
I can send you an image of it. I mean, you still have to print it out, but
yeah, I mean, I saved the image. We have the image solo, like isolated, saved. We just got to print it, but he loves it. We love it. So thank you.
It's like his Octonauts thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's into like natural disasters. Just like your teacher was into the fact that human beings are gonna ruin the planet with overpopulation.
Yeah, dude,
Mr. Mason.
Mad Mason.
That was a real guy too.
Yeah. He was right.
I changed his name, but you know, the one part I don't think I put this in the book, but because it was a longer section and then I edited a lot down, but this science teacher, God, he always looked disheveled and like had coffee stains on him, and he always like go on these rants, and then sometimes he would say like, and when it all goes down and they fire me, I'm coming with my truck and I'm taking the marble out of the windowsill or whatever. Be like, I don't know. Okay.
He's on that.
He was really like,
he was on reality.
He was on aggravated guy.
What grade was this?
My science teacher, he tried to buy every time racks. He tried to buy, do you guys know racks? It's like Hardee's.
I don't think so.
He tried to buy Arby's roast beef sandwiches for all the girls at lunchtime. All the little girls come eat roast beef with him and play with mercury.
What?
That's all bad.
That's what's wrong with me.
There's nothing.
What do you think's worse, the mercury? What's worse, the mercury or the Arby's?
There's racks or whatever the fuck.
I knew I was pregnant when I went. I lived in LA, and I was like, I need to go to an Arby's now, and would just drive 20 miles out of my way.
I had that thought a week ago, and I don't even eat beef.
It's fucking great.
But I used to love the beef and cheddar, and I'm gonna go get it one of these days. But James,
it's right next to Long John Silver's.
I'm sure it is.
A quick story about me and my 7th grade science teacher, Mr. Hubbard. I was going through a scrapbook a few years ago, and I always thought I have a warped perception of who I was when I was a kid. Like, people will tell me about myself more than I know about myself because I don't understand, but my perception of myself is different than everyone else's. I always thought I was whatever, quiet, disassociated, whatever. But Mr. Hubbard was a fun science teacher, and he was an artist. He was the artist. So I got the opposite experience that you gave Mr. Mason, the opposite treatment. He drew up awards at the end of every year and would give them to his students. And there'd be awards with illustrations. And I have it in a scrapbook somewhere where it's like this like kind of buff looking cool kid. And it was the cool dude award. And he gave it to me.
Whoa, cool. Do you still have it?
Yeah, I still have it. And the only reason I completely forgot about it until I found it in a scrapbook. Mr. Hubbard drew it up and gave it to me because I was like, he had just thought I was the cool kid that was like always calm or just like always like, he just thought I was like a cool kid.
Pillar of chill.
Pillar of chill, yeah. And I didn't have that perception of myself, but he did. And I was like, that was my 7th grade science teacher who drew up awards for his students and gave out awards at the end of the year, which I thought was just so fun and brilliant. But anyway, yeah, you drew up your science teacher, and my science teacher kind of drew up me.
Yeah. Well, most of the time I drew pictures of the teachers having sex with animals. That was a big one that I would do.
They do.
And I wouldn't show their actual genitals, but it would just be like they're, you know, like a profile side view of them standing, pants around the ankles, and then an animal backed up into them. And
Totally.
the kids used to love that. I got to be honest, I had a lot of fans of those drawings in middle school.
Extra credit.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really got in trouble for it either. But I had a lot of them.
It's funny because it's true.
And I had the characters down. I've always been pretty good at that. I toyed with the idea of doing like a Saturday market character sketch booth or something.
Caricatures.
Yeah, but I don't do them like
just make them real foul. Yeah,
like on a surfboard or something. But I feel like I'm usually pretty good at capturing like a cartoon essence of somebody, like pretty quickly.
Like
if I
their
need
shittiest feature, make it very big.
Exactly.
And then have them doing something
like,
fucked up.
That, like when a teacher's fucking animals, make that the biggest part of the thing.
Like the most vile caricatures you could possibly think of, you know.
Yeah.
It looks just like me. It looks just like me doing something horrible.
Make a series of NFTs, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys,
or you can blackmail them. Be like, if you don't want this to be released, if you don't want people to see this, you got to pay me a lot of money.
I'm leaving. I'm hanging up on you guys.
All right, bye, Doctor.
Hey, Emily, I love you. It's great to see you. I'm so glad we got to talk.
We will. Let's do it again.
Yes, let's definitely do it again. If I come to Santa Fe, we should meet up, get some dinner.
We're gonna get crazy.
I'd love to meet the kids, love to meet the hubby.
They'd all love to meet you. They're all very sweet. They're much better people than I am.
No, don't say that. And Dingus, you're not in Portland anymore, right?
I'm in Silverton.
I'm
an hour south of you.
Okay. Well, so we're not going to run into each other, but it's good to see you. We should do this more often.
I agree. And if you want, you can be on my other show, and we can talk.
Yeah, I'd love to.
We could talk about some weird shit, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
All right, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the show. I love you both. It's great to see you.
Likewise, man.
Let's do it soon.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, this will be a 2-parter. We'll split it up. We'll put it out there. We'll do the thing. But hey, honestly, man, I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was like, I was a sit down. And I read it. Well, I started it last week, but I restarted it today and just read it in one go. Like even with my
quick.
Yeah, but it's
a quick read.
Yeah, but it was that's good, and it was entertaining.
Yeah, I like it.
It grabs you and you go. You know, like so. Good job.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Proud of you.
And just for the one more time for the listeners, it's available on Amazon.com, Buffer Zone. Link in the wherever this is posted. Or go to jamesmichaelwilliams.net and in my books section, there's a link. And then go to Patreon, James Michael Williams, and yeah, everything me. And I'm even wearing my own merch.
Holy shit, dude! I need one.
So I have merch you can even buy through the website.
Wow.
It's through Zazzle. So I don't actually make a lot of money, but you can get a T-shirt with some of my art on it if you want.
Fuck yeah! I want Dr. Donut and the Dingus. We still need to get stickers and possibly shirts made, and you know what I mean. And your art,
yeah, you should.
That'll be worldwide. We'll sell big in Tunisia.
I mean, you could do Zazzle. They don't give you a good royalty. It's like for a $20 shirt, you maybe make like $1.
I'll just burn my own screen and print to order. You know.
Yeah, that's cool too. I used to do that. It's like actually really difficult to screen print in a little apartment. So I find it easier to just have another company do it and then do the shipping.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Shopify or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all works. You get a little cut.
But in any event, it's great to see you both. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy. Hope you get all your shit done. And yeah, let's connect soon.
All right. Yeah, I'll hit you up about the other show because we should definitely do that.
All right. Hey, have a great day.
All right. You too, man. Later.
All right.
Bye. Bye.